The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
In a season full of disappointing and disgusting Jet losses, yesterday might have been the worst of them all. Where do the Jets go from here? We'll talk about that and much more with Joe Benigno in his weekly spot on the show. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
This is the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go on a Monday following a Jet loss yesterday that even for Jet standards is still hard to fathom a day later. Before we bring on Joe B, I want to thank everyone again who came out to our watch party for this disaster at T-Squared Social. And, of course, I want to thank Joe, who came down to Midtown Manhattan yesterday and watched the game with a bunch of us. And Joe was nice enough to join us now in his weekly spot. Joe, I know I didn't get to watch the exact last drive with you, but leading up to it, you just got the feeling this was certainly possible for the Jets to blow it, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, this is about as low as it gets, bro. Let's be honest. I mean, with the expectation level coming into this year, this is now settling into one of the worst seasons in the history of the franchise. And, let's start with this. I want to start with this. There's so much to get to, but let's start with this. I had no problem with them firing Salah. I thought he would have to get to 2-5 like it was coming into yesterday's game before Woody pulled the trigger. But I didn't think he would, wait too much longer if they kept losing. But let's be honest. As we look back now, it was a mistake to do it. I mean, because Jeff Ulbrich looks like he's totally over his head as the head coach of this team. And I don't want to kill him because he didn't know this was coming. He didn't see this coming. He didn't know from he woke up after the Minnesota game the next day and now he's the head coach. Yeah, so he didn't know that was going to be the case. But Woody should have fired Salah after the year last year, or should have just let him ride out the rest of the year and then got rid of him. It's really looking like this is a terrible mistake by Woody Johnson. But with that said, I mean, yesterday. First of all, let's start with the kicker, okay? How is this guy? Let's be real. As bad as it's been for this team, as bad as the continuing delay of game penalties and wasting 3 timeouts in the first quarter and a delay of game penalty on the attempted 2-point conversion after they took the lead and all that, this kicker has cost us 3 games now. He didn't make a 50-yard field goal against Denver that would have won the game. And I don't want to hear, well, it was raining, it was 50 yards. He was making them last year all the time. He missed 2 big kicks, very makeable against Buffalo, probably cost us that game. And he missed an extra point here. He missed a 44-yard field goal. And if he makes them, we win. I mean, it's simple as that. And they're probably not even going for 2 on that last touchdown if he makes those other kicks. So how Greg Zuerlein can possibly be, how he kicked in this game, I don't know. How he can possibly be the kicker Thursday night against Houston, I don't understand. It just boggles my mind. They should have not even put him on the team bus coming home. I honestly, that's how bad Zuerlein has been for our franchise this year. If he's making kicks as bad as we've been, we're looking at 5-3 and not 2-6. I mean, let's be honest about it. But I mean, look, the offense yesterday, I mean, I thought they played okay. I mean, I thought Rodgers had a decent game, I did. I mean, they ran the ball better, but this is not a great run defense to start with. But the mistakes are unbelievable. First touchdown drive was actually 2 pass interference calls really set it up. the first touchdown drive to Tyler Conklin. The Patriots dropped pass after – they must have dropped 8 passes in this game. They even dropped an interception that hit the guy right in the hands. And then this guy, Butte, Shake Your Butte, beats the over – I am so tired of hearing about Sauce Gardner, okay? He beat him like a drum.
He's getting worse too, Joe. That's the thing, right? Like at first it was like, okay, he's missing a tackle here, there, but at least the coverage is still really good. Now he's getting beat in everything.
Right. And he never makes an interception. I mean, he never comes up with an interception. They never come up with a turnover, this defense. You know, they had the ball on the ground yesterday again that they didn't come up with, as we've seen over and over and over again. And let's be real, bro. This defense is a shell of what it once was. Franklin Myers is gone. Jermaine Johnson is gone. Bryce Huff is gone. C.J. Mosley, I think his career is over. He got hurt again. You know, he's getting up there. He can't even stay on the field anymore. The secondary, you know, Sauce Gardner's getting his rear end handed to him in the secondary. They never force a turnover. They can't stop the run. And with the game on the line yesterday, they choked. They gave it up. And you knew it was coming. Let's be honest. You knew they were coming down the field and scoring there. And, of course, they waited till 4th and 1 from the half-yard line to finally the ultimate indignity of sticking it up our rear end. You're a Jet fan today. It just does not get any lower than where it is right now. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. Just doesn't get lower.
You know, that's where I was going next, Joe, because obviously you've been a fan of this franchise since the beginning. Yeah. I mean, in my lifetime, this to me is the worst it has ever been. You've been going back since the beginning, as I just said. I mean, the state of this franchise right now, has it ever been worse?
No. I mean, I think especially when you factor in the expectation levels and you factor in now that they're going on 15 years or how many years it is, 14 years without a playoff appearance, which is the longest in North American sports. I mean, it's not just the NFL. It's the longest in North American sports. I mean, this yesterday was an absolute disgrace. And I'll tell you, when Drake May went out with the concussion, even though he was running like he was Lamar Jackson against the Jets yesterday, scored that touchdown on that run and all of that. When he went out of the game, that scared the hell out of me because a guy like Brissett can come in and do what he did. And you know, come in and do what he did to the Jets yesterday. And it's unbelievable. Like I said, the Patriots did whatever they could do to try to give this game to the Jets, and the Jets still couldn't take it. And it's pretty bad, bro. They're 2-6. How many games are they winning? They got no shot to win. I mean, is there any shot Thursday night? They got no shot to win this game against a 6-2 Texan team. Where is the psyche of this team now? Where are they mentally at this point? You got the coach talking about darkness. We're in the darkness. You got Aaron Rodgers saying, well, I've been in the darkness. I mean, where is this team now? They're nowhere right now. I mean, you're looking at a 4 or 5 win team, and you're looking at the absolute blow up of this. Of the general manager is going to be gone. The coaching staff is going to be gone. You know, it's really a shame you can't just change the coaching staff in the middle of the year in the NFL. You can't do it. So they're stuck with these guys for the rest of the year, and I don't see where it's getting any better, man. I mean, you tell me where they're winning. You think they're beating Houston Thursday? Come on. You're going to go to Arizona and beat the Cardinals, who are playing. They won 2 in a row. Terrific comeback win over Miami yesterday. I mean, where are they winning games, bro? You tell me where they're winning games. It's unbelievable. It's disgusting what's happened to this football team.
And even yesterday, just the way they find new ways to lose. I saw the stat that was going around. The Jets yesterday, they scored 20-plus points. They didn't turn the ball over. They allowed fewer than 250 yards. In NFL history, teams are 750-1, including the playoffs when generating that box score. And the only loss yesterday was the Jets. And it's like one of those things, Joe, where they got a lot of issues. And obviously it's never just one thing, but you could directly, attribute at least 2, if not 3 losses to the kicking situation. People are saying it all day and all week. Oh, this team was better with Zach Wilson last year. Well, yeah, because last year Greg Zuerlein didn't miss anything. Yep. Last year this defense actually was top 5. Now you insert a team we thought was better, and some of these things we were relying on to maintain their level with Rodgers coming back. It hasn't been there from the jump, and that's why this team, I mean, there's underachieving teams, and then there's the Jets. I mean, this is one of the biggest failures, I'd argue, in the history of professional football. That's how bad it's been.
Yeah. And I've said this about, the Jet losing karma, and I don't know how that ever changes. The Jet losing karma has engulfed Aaron Rodgers now. I mean, what is he thinking about, He comes to this team, 4 plays into it last year. He's out for the year with an Achilles injury. Comes back now. He's finally healthy, although he's got all kinds of different injuries. And this is happening. And you look at the 5 straight losses. I mean, they could maybe not. I mean, even Pittsburgh. I mean, they were down 16-15 in the game. They were up 15-6, until Wilson, really the Pittsburgh game, they were in the game until Zerline missed that field goal at 23-15 last week. You look at all 5 of these losses, every one of them, they could have and probably should have won. It's unbelievable. It really is. I mean, I just don't know where they go from here. They really don't. And it really does start with Woody. Look, I like Woody in a lot of ways that have nothing to do with football. But you know what? He's a terrible owner. He has not done a good job with this team. I know he's tried with Devontae Adams and Reddick, all it is, bringing Rodgers in. But, like I said, it's really the firing of Salah at the time he fired him, even though I didn't have a problem with it. I don't want to, act like now, no. I didn't have a problem with it either. But that has come back to really kick them in the ass. Let's be honest. As bad as he was, Jeff Ulbrich just cannot be a head coach in this league right now. He looks totally deer in the headlights. Totally.
And I don't know really where they go now, right? Like in the past, there's like, okay, you do this. There's at least maybe, some perceived light at the end of the tunnel. But, as we were just talking about, Joe, like, I don't trust his owner to get the right GM and the right coach put together. Like, the Knicks eventually turned it around with Doan because he eventually got the right hires right. But, I mean, you have no faith in this ownership group for the Jets right now, getting it right like the Knicks were able to. So I really don't know where they go from here. You're definitely going to have a new coach, probably a new GM too. I'd be shocked if Douglas.
Oh yeah, back. No, Douglas has got to go, bro. I mean, come on. Yep. You think Douglas is good? Let's really break it down with Douglas. His first draft choice was Mekhi Becton. His number 2 pick was Denzel Mims. He drafted Zach Wilson. We could go on and on. Even a guy like Will McDonald. I mean, this guy's got a bunch of sacks. Was he even on the field yesterday?
He's the least of their problems, though. I mean, like it's just he's 29-62 as the general manager. He's had 6 years. He's gonna live out his entire contract, have 100 games as general manager, and this team hasn't even come close to sniffing the playoffs since he's been here.
Not even close. Yep. No, and he hired Salah. So I mean, Salah was a bad head coach. So, I mean,
what about Rodgers though, Joe? Because that to me is the biggest thing. Like, if Aaron's like, all right, I want to come back next year. It's like, to me, I look at it like, okay, like you're under contract. If you want to come back for 1 year, fine. But we're not doing everything building around trying to win for you in this last year. Like, we got to think about drafting a quarterback and having that guy sit behind you.
You know what? To me, that's the optimum thing. I mean, look, this looks like they're going to have a high draft choice. You got to draft a young quarterback. There's no question about it. And they probably would be better off with Rodgers another year to develop the quarterback under him. I mean, because you cannot draft another rookie. And I understand, Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, these guys are having pretty good years as first-year quarterback. What a win for Washington yesterday. Unbelievable. These guys are playing well. But, you really can't just throw these guys in there and expect them to be good right away out of college, But they're going to have to draft somebody. Maybe they get Cam Ward. Maybe they get, Deion's son. I don't know who that guy's going to be. But they got to do something, man. And next year is going to be a complete, where do we go? I mean, they're one of the worst run franchises in sports. They're right up there. They are as badly managed as any team in professional sports right now. And it really starts with that. It really does.
It's just, and I used this term last week, and I think a loss like yesterday applies. And I hear from the Jet fans I interact with on the show every day, the amount of messages I've received now over the last week from season ticket holders, Joe, who are not renewing. I mean,
well, they're hosing them too. I mean, let's be honest, Jake. The fact that they're sending season ticket holders, they expect them to pay now for next year, especially with the product that they're putting out there. I mean, who the hell wants to renew with this crap? Who's going to be there Thursday night? Who the hell wants to go to a 2-6 fading fast football team against a 6-2 Houston team? By the way, on Halloween night. I mean, what the hell is that going to be like at MetLife on Thursday night? I mean, and I know it's going to be nice weather, supposed to be 80 degrees, but I mean, come on. What are we looking at here, bro? I mean, it's disgraceful what's happened to this franchise. It's a disgrace, And there is no more beleaguered fan base than our team is. And I got to tell you this gets me too, all right? All these people who got so much to say about our team, all right, and we deserve all the criticism, that don't really give a shit about the Jets. I mean, come on, they don't give a damn. You know, these writers, most of them, and I don't want to say names, they want to see him lose. It's a better story. You know, what's the better story? You know, Rodgers having a big year and leading the Jets into the playoffs, or Rodgers and this team falling completely flat on their face? What's the better story for them? You know, they want to see this team be bad. Our fan base is the most beleaguered fan base in professional sports. And I'm sorry. I mean, even the goddamn Cleveland Browns yesterday beat the Ravens. I mean, come on, you know, with Jameis Winston at quarterback. You know, even that. I mean, you know, where are we? You know, we're right there with we're right there as bad as anybody. The Titans, the Panthers, you know, New England's better than us right now. Yeah. I mean, you know, let's be honest about it. It's an absolute disgrace where this franchise is right now. No doubt about it.
And I was thinking about this too, Joe. You look back at Joe Douglas's great 2022 draft, right? That's what every Jet fan who's a Douglas supporter will point to in the past. Look at the teams that picked in the top 5 that year. Only the Jets haven't even sniffed the playoffs. Jacksonville, as bad as they are this year, they won a playoff game a few years ago. Yeah. Detroit is one of the model franchises in the league right now.
I think Texans, they're the best team in the league. Do you want my feeling? Right now, I think they're better than the Chiefs right now.
Right.
They're steamrolling everybody, the Lions.
Houston 6-2, won a division last year. Got it right with Stroud. I mean, even the Giants, as bad as they are, they at least went to the playoffs and won a game with Daniel Jones 2 years ago. Meanwhile, the Jets, once again, haven't come close to the playoffs. So they're going to clean house. There's going to be a new coaching staff, a new GM. You don't know necessarily about the quarterback, but I think the reason why this is so depressing and why, to me, it's the worst it's ever been is there's really no clear path to how this gets turned around. Like, I have no faith in this ownership group bringing in the right football people to rectify this problem. And that's really where it all starts. You either have the right people or you don't.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt about it. Look, you know, you keep hearing Mike Vrabel's name. I'd be all for Mike Vrabel. Bring him in. I can't deal with another first-time head coach coordinator. You know, that hasn't worked with them. You know, there'll be a lot of big names. The guy in Detroit, everybody loves him, their offensive coordinator. Even Aaron Glenn, the old Jet, with the Lions as defensive coordinator. You know, you hear names like that, but I mean, is this what I'm looking for? I mean, we need somebody that's going to come in and start kicking some ass with this franchise. This franchise needs their ass kicked. You know, where's the accountability here? You know, how do you bring this kid? The kicker thing is just unbelievable. How did they come back this week with this guy kicking again?
And we knew it. We all knew it. Like, it's unreal,
bro.
It's just it's terrible, Joe. And like you and I looked at each other yesterday and we were laughing after he misses, you know, the PAT or the easy chip shot field goal. It's comical, and it's like I think what kills us too as fans feels like we as fans want it more than the Jets players and coaches do a lot of times.
You know what? That's a big. You know what, bro? And I've said this for 100 years. You know, we do. We suffer more than they do. You know, look, they change everything. You know, I don't want to go through my mantra about the changes. You know, the coaches, the owner, you know, stadium, the players, all of that. But we don't change. We're here. We've been here. I've been rooting for this team for 60 years. You've been rooting for this team. How long you've been rooting for this team? You know, guys that have been season ticket holders. All, you know, my buddies that are hardcore Jet fans. You know, Iron Staten Island, my buddy Tommy Keenan, Kenny Scarabaggio. You know, Joey Jet, Joey Lazuski, you know, go right on down the line with these guys that are, you know, season ticket holders, been rooting for this team for a million years, you know, completely loyal to this franchise and just getting it up our ass year after year after year. I mean, it's unbelievable. We don't have our own stadium. You know, we could get into that. I mean, that's a whole different ballgame. Well, we don't. That's still the Giants Stadium, you know. I mean, what are we? You know, we're almost like a vagabond franchise in a lot of ways, okay? You know, we've never had our own stadium. Shea Stadium was the Mets Stadium. Giant Stadium was their stadium. This stadium is their stadium. I mean, you know, it's really, really, really one of the worst-run franchises in sports history. We've had 2 terrible owners. Leon Hess was a great man, great humanitarian. You know, he knew how to deal with the, you know, all the what was going on in the Middle East and all the oil barons and all of that. He was great for doing that, but he was a lousy owner. And it wasn't until the end when he was, you know, not getting any younger that he said, well, I'd like to win, you know, after the Richie Kotite disaster. And he brought in Parcells, and even he couldn't get us over the hump. He couldn't even get it done, you know. So where are we now? I mean, we're nowhere. You know, Woody made a big mistake years ago when he fired Mike Tannenbaum. Should have never done that. He should have left Rex alone with Tannenbaum. He shouldn't have brought Idzik in. That really, to me, that started the cycle of disaster that we're in now. and all the bad coaches, Todd Bowles. I know you can say whatever you want about him as a head coach. I know he's doing a little better in Tampa, although they lost again yesterday. But, Todd Bowles and Adam Gase and Robert Saleh. I mean, this is what we got. It's horrible, bro. Herman Edwards, who was a good coach for us, couldn't wait to get the hell out, right? Let's be honest. He couldn't wait to leave. They screwed Mancini really after, Mangini, excuse me. They screwed Mangini when maybe they shouldn't have fired him after that year with Favre, and Favre got hurt after they started out 8-3 and all that. There's been so many, and I know Rex did a good job and all that, but just been so many mistakes that this franchise has made. I mean, and it really starts at the top. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And Woody Johnson isn't selling the team anytime soon. Let's be honest. Let's realize that.
Well said, Joe. And the problem is, and this doing, what you did at the Fan for as many years as you did it. Like, fans will say, sell the team and all, and it's like at the end of the day, you can't fire the owner. And until the owner hires the right football people, it's impossible to picture how this changes, because this team genuinely, I do believe, has an enormous amount of talent on it. Yet this is one of the biggest disasters in the history of sports.
But they're not a team.
Nope.
They're not a team. And again, you can't run the ball. Just look at some of these guys. Another guy, Vera Tucker, he's hurt too. How about this guy? This is another guy he drafted, right? Supposed to be, tremendous player. 2 years in a row out, gets hurt again, doesn't play yesterday. I mean, this is constant with this franchise, man. I mean, this is constant crap. I just don't know what to say. The defense never forces a turnover. They had another ball on the ground yesterday. They didn't come up with another fumble. They never do.
3 games in a row without forcing a turnover, by the way. That's how you lose 4 of your 5 games by less than a score.
Well, because the defense is terrible. Michael Clemens stinks.
Nice penalty yesterday by Clemens.
The roughing the passer, which was kind of borderline. But when you put your hand up to the guy's face, the quarterback, they're going to call it. Michael Clemens stinks. Kinlaw stinks. Solomon Thomas stinks. You go right on down the line. Sauce stinks right now. I mean, what do they have, bro? What do they got? Who's getting you excited on defense? Quincy Williams? Quinton Williams played, I thought, his best game of the year yesterday, and they still freaking lost the game. And they still lost. I mean, I don't know what to say anymore, man. I'm beside myself, really.
If you have a question or comment for Joe, write it in. Once again, Joe Benigno with us here in his weekly spot. Check out his podcast, the Oh the Pain podcast, wherever you get your podcast. And Joe, who would have thought that this was actually the highlight of the Jets season when they got the 2-1? They haven't won a game since. I did your podcast the next night. We were in a great mood, thinking, hey, if Rodgers is healthy, this team's gonna have a chance to be pretty good. And since then, they haven't won a damn game. It's amazing.
It's been one disaster after another, no doubt about it. Yeah, no, it's mind-boggling, bro. And I saw a stat. I mean, you want to get crazy, that no team has ever lost 5 games in a row when they have been less than a 3-point underdog in all those games or something like that. I something along those lines.
By the way, the Jets right now against the Texans on Thursday, it's a pick 'em. So they're not even an underdog yet.
Well, how could they be a pick 'em? How the hell can the Jets? First of all, I couldn't believe there were 7-point favorites yesterday. I mean, that line was way out of whack, number one. And number two, how can they be an even money game against a 6-2 Houston Texan team? Can you tell me that? How? How is that a pick-em game?
They shouldn't be.
Football team going into this game Thursday night. Where are they? They're nowhere.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing too, right? Like, you just know in typical Jet fashion, they'll win some games late down the stretch that don't mean anything. Yeah, because it'd be too easy for them to finish with just 2 or 3 wins. It'd be that would actually be too positive of a thing long term if that were to happen. They're going to win games when it doesn't matter. Just the same way they started 1-7 with Gase in year 1. He should have been fired then. Then they rattle off a 6-2 fakakta stretch at the end of the year. And take their draft pick. Like, you just know they're going to win some games that don't matter late in the season. I could see it now.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, that's typical Jets. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm so frustrated right now. I think one thing I need to see is this kicker be gone.
Yep.
I mean, you cannot bring this guy. I know it's only 3 days. You cannot bring this guy back kicking again. He's done. I know they gave him a 2-year extension, whatever they gave him. They got to eat the freaking money and get him the hell out of here because he's shot. I do not want to see this guy kicking for my team anymore. He's done. He's done.
Comments, questions, super chats for Joe. This first one I'm seeing here is from Sco, who was at the event yesterday. Joe B, nice meeting you yesterday. What quarterback do you want in the draft? Here we go. Quarterback.
Well, who knows? I mean, I want the guy that's going to finally be the right guy that we've been looking for. like I said, there's guys out there. Cam Ward at Miami. You got Deion's son, Shamir Sanders. I mean, looks like if he doesn't get killed by his lousy offensive line,
Carson Beck.
The guy from Georgia, Beck,
Yeah.
right? You got guys, I guess Quinn Ewers at Texas. I mean, I don't know if he's coming out next year. I don't know what the deal is, but there's big name guys that you can look at that you think you got something, but you don't know. I don't know. Who knows who's going to be good and who's not? Who knows who's going to be the next C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels, and who's going to be the next Zach Wilson? I don't know that. Or Bryce Young. I don't know. Nobody knows. That's the problem. Nobody knows.
Right. And it's just so deflating to think we're talking about doing this again.
Too. And this is why I say that you hope Rodgers comes back next year so this guy, whoever they draft, can sit behind him. Because how many quarterbacks? Look at what's going on with Geno Smith now. Look at what's going on with Sam Darnold. Look at what's going on with Baker Mayfield. These guys, quarterbacks sometimes take a lot of time to develop. They're not ready to play right away. You're not in the right coaching situation. So many different things about that. Quarterbacks sometimes take years to develop. I mean, look at Vinny Testaverde. Look at Rich Gannon. Jim Plunkett. So it's such an inexact science. Who do I want? I want the guy that's going to finally be the right guy. And I don't know who the hell that is any more than, whoever's going to be the next GM and draft him, because Douglas will be gone, and any more than they know. Let's be honest.
If you're one of the 2,100 plus people tuned in right now, click that like button and, more importantly, subscribe to the channel. We're approaching 40,000 subscribers, so thank you to all the Jet fans who tune in and support the show despite the debacle that has been, the historic debacle that is the 2024 Jets. Big Surge says, Colts brought in Jeff Saturday in an emergency. Woody needs to get Rex out of the studio. This is an emergency. I'll tell you what, at least Rex would make this team more watchable, and he cares. He has a high give a shit,
Rex would run here to take this job.
He said as much this morning on the radio, too.
Did he? What did he say? I didn't hear that. What did he say?
He said he hopes that he gets a chance to interview for the job in the offseason, which I think there's no doubt he's going to get at least an interview for it. He's going to get an opportunity to interview for this gig, and he should.
Bring him back. Bring Tannenbaum back. That's the last time we had real legitimate coaching here with this football team. Bring them two back, and let's see what happens. Rex is going to kick ass with this team. You will see an immediate difference in this football team if Rex is the head coach next year. I'm all for Rex. I like Vrabel. Everybody's hot on Vrabel. I'll take Rex back in a heartbeat, because I tell you, not only would he run back here to take the job, he's got a massive chip on his shoulder. He's got like a brick on his shoulder to come back and prove that he's the right coach for this franchise, and they should never have let him go in the first place.
I actually am more open to Rex than I think I initially was. My thing is, though, I don't know if you want Tannenbaum back with him. Like Tannenbaum because once Mangini was gone and it was on Rex and Tannenbaum to start making a lot of decisions, the draft just and a lot of the personnel moves, like it initially was great in 2010 with the Braylon trade and Santonio Holmes and signing LaDainian Tomlinson. We keep going through it, but then after that, like Tannenbaum made a lot of brutal decisions, and it all started to me with getting rid of Kotri and so on and so forth from 2011 on. If you paired Rex with a different GM, maybe I'm more open to it, because I do think, Joe, as you talked about, whether it's Rex or Vrabel, if they're going to go down the path of trying to fix the stench that is this franchise right now, you need someone who's done it before at a high level. So if it's Rex or it's Vrabel, or if the Browns were to fire Kevin Stefanski, for example, like those are the type of coaches I'd be interested in looking at.
Yeah. No, I don't want a first-time guy again. I'll say that. That I definitely do not want. I want somebody who's done it before. I told you, I'm all in for Rex. I mean, I don't know how a lot of people feel, been there, done that. But I would take a shot. And like I said, I think he's got a massive chip on his shoulder to come in here and straighten this mess out.
I would need to know who his OC is, right? Because that was the knock on Rex, that he never had the right offensive
coordinator.
Yeah.
Hey, well, you know what? Right now, I'd take Brian Schottenheimer to be the OC. Are you kidding me?
He hasn't coached in 8 years, though, with Rex. So with the concern, my concern would be like, okay, has the game passed him by a little bit, or is he still
how long between coaching stints was it for Dick Vermeil with Philadelphia, and then he came back with the Rams and he won a Super Bowl?
Yep.
And his team basically went to another Super Bowl when Mike Martz was the head coach after Vermeil stepped down. So, why not? And
What
like
about Gruden? I know Gruden's suing the league, but if that could actually get rectified, and Woody could go to Goodell and be like, "What is it going to take to get this situation figured out so he can coach again?" Like to me, it's like it's almost like post Kotite they needed a Parcells figure to like turn this franchise around. It feels like we're at that point again where it's so bad right now. You need that figure to come in and fix it.
Yeah, that's what you need. You got to get a real head coach in here. You cannot bring another coordinator in here. You just a first-time guy. You can't do it. Not now. Not now.
Bang Mateo says Joby can't pay Sauce $30 million. Should we trade him? I mean, you're not going to have to pay him $30 million the way he's playing right now.
I wouldn't pay him a dime.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay this goddamn guy a dime. He is so damn overrated. He's got one interception in his career. Think about that. He's got one interception in his career. He missed a ton of tackles yesterday. That one play where he tried to make a play on a ball, didn't get there, and he missed the guy. I think it was Stevenson running down the sideline, made a great catch. He gets burned by Butte yesterday. I mean, I'm tired of hearing about how good Sauce. DJ Reed to me is better. He's better. I'm tired of hearing about how good Sauce Gardner is. He's one of the most overrated players in the league. Let's be honest about it.
When it comes to someone like Reed and some of these other guys who are on the final year of their deals, I mean, it would take Woody a lot, I think, to do this because he was just a buyer 2 weeks ago. But, like, would you consider trading some of these guys and see if you can get any draft picks for them?
Yeah, I mean, there's guys you could trade. Look, right now.
But who's making that decision? Like, is Joe Douglas going to be trading away
that's
these
the
players?
problem. I mean, do you want Joe Douglas making decisions now? I just as soon ride the year out with what we got and then blow it up. That's it.
Yep.
Ride the year out, see where we are at the end, and then bring in the new GM, bring in a new head coach. Let's blow it up. But damn it, let's get it right for a change.
Webb writes in, until further notice, Sauce Gardner is no longer good enough to be called Sauce. He's now Ahmad Gardner until he gets back to being good. I mean, it's just sad, man.
Yep.
It's getting worse for him too. Like at the beginning, it's like, okay, he wasn't playing at an all-pro level, but if you looked at his coverage stuff, like I check it out every week, he was still right there with any of these guys. And now it's just he's getting beat by UDFA level receivers with the game on the line with Jacoby Brissett throwing the ball. Like it's just it's never been this bad for this team when even Sauce is now a huge liability.
Yeah, he got beat like a drum on that play, man. He got turned around completely. He was 5 or 6 yards behind the guy. Just horrible. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, what else can you say? What else can you say? Breece Hall had a decent game yesterday, but he's not playing at the level we thought he would. Garrett Wilson's been pretty good. Now, he did drop that pass at the end of the game. Now, I don't know if it would have made a difference. Had he caught that pass, at least you would have had a shot at a Hail Mary by the guy who's the king of the Hail Mary and Aaron Rodgers. So, I don't know if I thought overall Wilson was good. He made a lot of contested catches too. I mean, he made catches yesterday with guys hanging on him. He really did. So,
Bang Mateo says, we are officially the get-right game for opponents.
Yeah.
I mean, they can lose to anyone. They just lost to the worst team in the league. The Jets are now in consideration to be that bad of a team. I don't care what the talent on the roster is. They went from poorly coached to just they don't have a coach right now. It's unreal. I mean, by the way, Joe, we were laughing about this watching this together yesterday. Burning 3 timeouts in the first quarter of a game, even for Jet standards. I've never seen that before.
Never seen it happen. I've never seen it happen. And burned 3 timeouts because every one of them was going to be a delay of game penalty.
And then they don't take a timeout before the 2-point conversion, which would have been the right time to actually use one of the timeouts in that spot at the end.
Right.
Oh, I hate this.
And I think Rodgers didn't burn the timeout because he wanted to hold the timeout for later because he was worried they were going to come back and do what they did, to be honest. And then I was very surprised. I don't know how you felt about this. I don't know if you were there at this point. They're coming down in the game-winning drive, and Ulbrich called timeout on defense. And I'm like, why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? We're going to need this timeout. And it almost hurt them that DJ Reed made that tackle on the third down play. And they didn't score there because we would have got more time to maybe come down and do something at that point, maybe. Although if it came down to a kick, you figure Zerline wasn't going to make it anyway. So,
Paul D with another comment about getting Rex off TV and coaching this team the rest of the. I mean, at this point, Ulbricht's the guy for the rest of the year. They made their bed, and now they're going to lie in it.
Look, would I be upset if they did that? Why not? It's been such a disaster anyway.
Yeah, okay? Why not?
Right. It's been such a freaking disaster. Would it really matter if they went out and said, okay, Rex, you're back. You're going to coach the team. Okay. I mean, I would be good with that. Let's see what happens. It would be worth a shot. It would be worth, at this point, it can't get any worse. It's certainly against the grain. It's not like baseball where you can fire a manager in the middle of the year and still win. We've seen that. There's been precedent for that many, many times where you got rid of the manager in the middle of the season, you bring somebody else in, and they went on and won the World Series. We've seen that happen. But at this point, it's so bad. It's so dysfunctional. Why would that, why not? That's how I look at it. It can't get too much worse than it already is, can it?
And just in typical Jet fashion with this year from hell, they're back in prime time Thursday. There's going to be a lot of Jet fans dressed up as empty seats on Halloween. Good God.
I wouldn't go meet. Let me tell you something. I had an opportunity to go to the game Thursday. Like I said, it's going to be nice, but 80 degrees Thursday.
Yeah, I'm actually going because I did a group buy with my listeners before the year, Joe. We have 155 people in section 128 that I'm hosting. We're doing a tailgate, the whole thing.
Wow.
When we made these plans, we thought this was going to be a huge game, right? Rodgers versus Stroud, prime time, Halloween.
It's a big game for the Texans. I'll say that.
Unreal. Paul says, trade Reed and Quincy to the Lions. I don't think that's going to happen. Ollie writes in, Jake and Joe, how mentally ill am I that I still have hope deep down they could string together a run? I'm worried about my mental health. Well, you're a Jet fan, so you should always be worried about your mental health.
Every one of us is mentally ill, okay? Probably nobody more so than me because I've been a fan of this team for 60 years, and you're like, well, what's wrong with you? I always say this, thank God I saw the one Super Bowl because I know I've never seen another one, bro. I know that.
Yeah,
it's just you still have that extremely youthful glow, but I know I'm 71. I ain't never seen another one. I feel confident with that.
Hennessy says, don't worry, we'll have another good week of practice. That was the kiss of death when Oberk said that this week. That was the Adam Gase line. We had a great week of practice. I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah. Well, they don't even have a week to practice because they only got a couple. How many days of practice they got this week? Maybe that helps them. Maybe they shouldn't practice.
Do they even practice? That's the thing. Do they even
maybe
practice?
They shouldn't. They might be better off not practicing. Maybe that's the case.
Ed C writes in, well, would he do the right thing and sell off assets and draft picks at the trade deadline? I think not. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, to me, Joe Douglas is basically an absentee GM right now. So this would have to be like Woody basically getting someone to do his bidding and make these deals.
Woody's not doing that.
Because I think ego gets involved here too, Joe, right? It's like this guy was a buyer 2 weeks ago. He tries to justify the Saleh firing. He's not going to jettison, Devontae Adams and Mike Williams and DJ Reed.
No, not at all. Look, he might get rid of a guy like Mike Williams. He may get rid of a guy, fringe guy here. And I want to see some changes, though. I want to see the kid play left tackle. I don't want to see Tyron Smith anymore. I want to see Fassinu at left tackle now. Can we make that switch? Can I see this kid play? All right. I understand you give me, Tyron Smith's on a 1-year deal. Let me see the kid play. Let me see what we got with him. Let me see the kid Corley play a little bit. Can I see him? All right. We know we got something with Braylon Allen. Okay. He's pretty decent. I mean, let me see this. I don't know what else. What else can I say? I don't know. I'm lost, bro.
It's hard. We'll rapid fire through some super chats here. We're hanging out with Joe B in his weekly spot. Make sure you guys check out Joe's podcast, the Pain. A lot of pain today talking about the New York Jets. And, of course, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, please do so. Win or lose, year-round, we're talking Jets. So commiserate with your fellow Jet fans here on the show. Henny says, what slow-motion videos did we see this week? I mean, that's another thing. They're putting out videos this past week of Reddick walking out to practice, and it's just another slap in the face to this fan base. Like, don't remind us that Hassan Reddick's here. The only time I want to see any video of Hassan Reddick is after he's sacking a quarterback. Which it's just like they're so tone deaf, top to bottom, with the season ticket renewal stuff, the social media posts, and it's just like they need to hire a director of common sense for the organization.
Yeah. Now they're just a poorly run franchise. There's no other way to say it.
Justin Lopez says, with Rodgers, I knew we weren't getting the same guy from Green Bay, but 70% of what he was better than any quarterback play we've had in years. The only problem is that the defense has regressed. Yeah, defense if they had last year's defense and last year's Greg Zuerlein, even with this version of Rodgers, who's clearly not what he was, they're 5-3 right now. I mean, they have at least 2 or 3 more wins.
No question. I'm with you. I mean, Rodgers hasn't been that bad. I mean, I know he's thrown some interceptions and all of that. And you got to look, it's got to be on him with these delay of game penalties. I mean, to me, that's on the quarterback, maybe on his Todd Downing too. I don't know. But Rodgers, I thought he played good enough yesterday to win the football game.
Yeah.
He didn't turn it over.
Yeah.
He drove him down the field in the last 5 minutes to put him ahead, right? For the game for the go-ahead touchdown. And then there's nothing he could do. He sat there with the towel over his head, watching the defense melt down. And I thought this was interesting, too. I don't know if you were still there when this happened. They showed it. Devontae Adams comes out as the defense is ready to go out there for that last drive.
I was
And
watching.
basically, you could see him. He's trying to be a leader of his team. He's only been here 2 weeks. He's, getting in the face of the defense and telling these guys that you got to go out there and get it done here now. And obviously that it didn't help because they didn't. But, but I think part of the problem there is just the defense is not any good. They're just not good.
No,
they're not good. That's it. And it's not good.
And it's amazing, right? Because, this is the first time I've had you on since we found out that Devontae gave like this great speech after the Steelers game.
Right.
And I have no problem with it, but I think it's a major indictment on this locker room and the culture that this previous head coach built, that a guy who's been here for 5 minutes is basically giving a speech. Where's the energy, man? Like, how did we come out flat in a primetime game last week? And, I was calling it the Gettysburg Address all week, Joe, on the show. One of my listeners coined that.
The Gettysburg Address.
Some speech it was, huh? It's not exactly the MLK speech or Herb Brooks in 1980.
Right.
It didn't work, unfortunately.
Maybe Lincoln could come back and coach the team. Maybe that would be good. Maybe that would work.
Hamburger says, "Oh, the pain." Never been more fitting.
Yep.
Michael writes in, Joe, they did it to us again. I blame my father. Couldn't get Giants tickets in the late 60s, so defaulted to the Jets.
Yeah, I could blame my father, too, because may he rest in peace, my father. God bless him. He's the one that turned me on to Joe Namath, when he was still quarterbacking at Alabama. And that's how it all started when he wound up signing with the Jets. I'm like, oh, this guy's coming to my team. This is my team. And that's how it all started, 1965. So, but I won't blame my father. God bless him. May he rest in peace. I miss him dearly.
Jack writes in, draft a QB and have a transition year with Tyrod next year. I mean, he's under contract for another year, so if Rodgers does retire, doesn't want to come back, it's like, okay, you have Tyrod, and then you draft someone.
I would be okay with it. If Rodgers didn't come back and Taylor's the starter next year as you're developing the young quarterback, I'm good with that. I would be okay.
It's just like that probably makes sense, but it's just like, man, that I mean, barring a miracle, you already know going into next year, like you're not making the playoffs again, and it's just like, when does this ever end? When do they actually forget winning a Super Bowl?
It ends when they finally get the right head coach in here, when they finally get the right management team in here, general manager, head coach. Woody's not selling the team, so I mean, we could talk about the owner all we want, maybe I'll say this, maybe if things go in my mind the right way a week from Tuesday. Maybe Woody's back in the United Kingdom again, and he's not not running the team anymore. I mean, I don't know.
His brother could hire Adam Gase again. That's the problem.
I don't know if I want Christopher Johnson running the team again. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So, but who knows? I mean, it really starts with the owner, and we've had two bad owners in Leon S. and Woody Johnson, but he ain't selling the team anytime soon. Let's understand that, Jet fans. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
Mike says, whoever they draft, they need to make sure we have a vet so a rookie could sit. Yep, we were just talking about this.
Yeah.
Dante says, Jake's right. You basically need a football god / legend to turn this franchise around. I mean, someone else suggested.
Who is that god?
Someone mentioned Pete Carroll. Yeah, but forget Belichick. Maybe Pete Carroll. I know maybe he's too old to coach.
I don't Pete Carroll. I don't know about that now. I don't even know if Pete Carroll wants to coach anymore. Does he? I don't know.
Would he want like an advisory type of role? Like he could help them hire the right football people? I don't know. Just an idea.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. There's no legend coming in the door. Lombardi's not coming through the door. Belichick's not coming through the door.
Well, you do it, Joe. If Woody calls you up, he wants you in the interview process to sit down with the candidates. Will you be in there vetting the candidates with Woody Johnson?
I would want to take people with me to do it. I wouldn't want just me. I would bring I think I'd bring you along. I think I'd bring Ira, Staten Island would come. I think I'd bring Kenny Scarabaggio with me. I think I'd bring Joe Jet with me, Tommy Keenan. I think I'd bring all the big Jet fans with me to come in there and sit in this interview process. Not just me. All the big Jet fans that have suffered for a long, long time to come in and really put the feet to the fire of these guys and basically say, you know what? This franchise has been horse shit, okay, for almost 60 years now. They've given us nothing. What are you going to do to change it? What makes me want to hire you that you're going to change the karma, the culture, whatever word you want to use? That guy needs to have his feet put to the fire. Tell me what you're going to do. And even the GM, even that. Yeah, get the Jet fans that have been screwed for 100 years, okay, to come in and sit down and let them do the interview process. I guarantee we'll do a better freaking job than the owner and whoever else is doing it. Because you know why? Because we give a shit about this team. We love this football. It's a love-hate. We've invested I know myself, I've invested so much emotionally, okay, in this football team. The investment that I put into it, the pain of all these losses, to feel like I felt yesterday leaving Manhattan and saying, man, how the hell did we blow this goddamn game? I mean, it matters to us. It doesn't matter to these guys that cover the team, that write for the various papers. They don't give a damn, okay? It doesn't matter to these guys in the media who aren't Jet fans, and they can rip them till the cows come home because they love to do that. They want to see him be bad. It doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter to some GM you're going to freaking hire that doesn't have any connection with the football team at all. And all he cares about, is the money you're going to pay him and, trying to, worrying about himself. Seriously, let the people who really give a damn about this franchise, let us come in and make the decision, not me alone. You need a bunch of the real Jet fans to come in and put these guys' feet to the fire, okay? And not be, oh, wow, he looks good. He's giving me a good, he's giving me a great song and dance routine for the reason that we think we should hire him. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah, not just me, bro. All the big Jet fans to come in and let's interview these guys. And it won't be any Twinkie munch, I can tell you that.
Storyline, any way you could chalk up these losses, just bad luck. We have been losing all these close games. Aaron Rodgers, king of delay game. Look, Rodgers not what he once was, but I don't put it on him yesterday, man. They should have won that game yesterday. But once again, I mean, 1 week it's the offense not doing it. Defense then plays well. Offense can't hold up its end of the bargain.
And the kicker, you can't understate how the kicker has killed us this year.
Right. Because there were a couple moments too, Joe.
Understated.
Yep. Like even yesterday, a couple times they punted around like the 40-yard line, or they went for instead of kicking because they have no faith in Zerline anymore. A year ago, they line up for a 53-yard field goal and he hits it, and he's automatic.
Well, even the first drive of the game, they got that punt return from Gibson, and they had the ball in plus territory. They had a 4th and about 4 on their 40 on the Patriot 43. Any punts? What are you doing? Go for it there. You're not kicking a field goal, but go for it. Why would you punt there, especially the first drive of the game when you're in plus territory? That was a terrible move, But then again, that's a move that's being made by a guy that's not really a head coach. He's not really a head coach.
Bo says it's logistically possible for an all-star cast to drop 5 straight, but only the Jets can make this small statistic highly probably and painful. I mean, once again, we've seen a lot of bad Jet teams. They're bad in a very special way because there is talent on this team more than they've had in years, and they're 2-6. It's insane.
Yeah.
Les says Jets are dressing up as a professional football team for Halloween, and Jet fans are dressing up as empty seats on Thursday. I'll be one of the few in the building. Unreal.
Yeah. It's funny. Go back 2 years before we get to your next guy. Go back to 2 years when we were actually 7-4. Okay, remember that? We were 7-4.
Yep.
Right. Mike White had just torn up the Chicago Bears. We were 7-4, and we were feeling good about our football team. And then it all ended. It all turned. It turned in that game in Minnesota. It turned on Braxton Berrios dropping what would have been a game-winning touchdown in the end zone. Right. The following week, we saw Mike White get the crap beat out of him in Buffalo. Okay, and it all just morphed from there. They had that horrible loss when they really had no quarterback against, I guess Zach played, and they brought in that guy. What's the guy's name?
Strevler. They had the Jaguars game.
In that terrible loss against the Jaguars in the rain on a Thursday night. It all went to shit from there, bro. That's where you go back. We were 7-4. We were, oh my God, we got a pretty good football team here.
Yeah.
And it all collapsed from that point.
And you know what's so frustrating too? And I said this yesterday. Joe Douglas, to me, to me, it's like you got to learn from your mistakes. A year ago, say whatever you want about this year's Jets team, but a year ago, if you had a legitimate backup quarterback with that defense, Greg Zuerlein being automatic a year ago, you could have went from 7-10 with a decent quarterback. You could have actually made the playoffs. He did nothing. Now you fast forward to this year, Joe, and despite all their issues, and they got a lot of issues beyond just Zuerlein, he has sat on his ass as the general manager again and allowed this season to basically be derailed in large part to an ineffective kicker that we all knew had a problem dating back to the preseason. He made the same colossal mistake of doing nothing for 2 straight seasons in a row.
Yeah, this guy, let's be honest, the kicker should have been gone after the Buffalo game.
Yep.
He shouldn't have even been allowed to kick against Pittsburgh, and he sure as hell shouldn't have been the kicker yesterday. I mean, that sure as hell should not have been. And if he's the kicker on Thursday night, I mean, come on.
No.
How is that possible?
And then it's like they're tanking. They're actually trying to lose if he's the kicker on Thursday.
I don't want to hear you only got 3 days, so you can't really make a move. No, get somebody in here now. There's plenty of kickers on the street, right? And you never know. This guy was the guy who was kicking for Washington now. He's one of the best kickers in football. He was out there. The Jets, I think the Jets had him in camp.
They did. Austin Seibert, yep.
Right. So, I mean, there's got to be somebody out there. I can't see Greg Zuerlein kicking again on Thursday night. I mean, you can't do that. You just cannot do that.
Tyrone says Jets need to move back to Queens next to the Mets and have their own stadium.
Well, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said that for years. That's where they belong. They should have a field right next to Citi Field. Have a Joe Namath statue. You could call it Leon Hess Stadium. I don't care what you call it. That's what
Joe B Stadium, or Leon Hess Stadium at Joe B Field.
No. Forget about it.
John says, Joe, where does the Rodgers?
The Jets have the Jets have no love for me. You know that.
Well, you know what? If they listened to you over the years, they wouldn't be, one of the biggest disasters in
Maybe
sports
not.
history.
Maybe not.
Where does the Rodgers era / experiment rank in terms of the worst disasters in Jet history? Joe, you've seen all the disasters. Where does this rank?
Right now it's right there with any of them because of the expectation level. I mean, the whole thing with Rodgers. I mean, we've gotten so burned from the injury last year in day one, to what's happening now. This is one of the all-time worst disasters in the history of the franchise. It's right up there with anything you want to give me. Anything you want to give me. The Kotite era, not drafting Dan Marino all the way back in 1983. There have been so many different things that we could talk about. We could go on and on and on. Getting rid of Rex and Tannenbaum, so many mistakes that they've made over the years. And this is right there with them because of the expectation level, no doubt.
Paolo says, Joe / Jake, bless your hearts. I'm done with this team. I mean, the problem is people that say they're done, they're going to be on their couch watching this disaster on Thursday. Yeah.
Of course.
We never actually leave.
With the team. This team's in your blood now. What do you think? I'm ever going to walk away from being a Jet fan? It's an impossibility. You can't do it. And then what are you going to do? You're going to walk away, and then maybe one day, God knows how many years from now, they're all of a sudden they are a legitimate Super Bowl contending team, and you're going to jump back on a bandwagon? It doesn't work that way.
Forever Ron says Mike Westhoff is head coach.
Nah. Isn't he? He's a consultant somewhere. Is he with Detroit?
No, so he's actually the special teams coordinator with the Broncos with Sean Payton right now.
Oh, with the Broncos, that's right. He's with Sean Payton. How about them? The Broncos, they're 5-3. How about that? They got Bo Nix at quarterback, and they're 5-3.
This shows you how much coaching matters.
What happens when you got a real head coach?
Yep, 100%. Altoona says, now that the season's over, watch them blow out the Texans. If not this week, Joe, I'm telling you, they will win some games now that it means absolutely nothing. We've seen the script how many times in franchise history.
They did blow out the Texans last year in the final moment of the final big moment Zach Wilson had in his career as a Jet.
Yep.
I don't see it. I mean, I just don't see it. I mean, I don't see, where is the psyche? That's what I keep saying. Where is the psyche of this football team right now? I just don't know.
Couple minutes left with Joe. Dante says, get Rodgers off McAfee. Sick of it. I mean, look, he was winning MVPs when he was doing that show. He becomes a Jet, and he's not playing well. No one's playing well, and it's like that to me is not. That's the least of their issues. Is Rodgers' weekly appearance on a talk show.
Yeah, I can't get on him for that. Plus, he's getting paid big money to do it, isn't he?
$1 million a year. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Jerry writes in, hey, Joe and Jake, can we tell Woody to get us a real head coach and stop trying out DCs? Thanks for all your hard work, guys. You make the pain a little easier. JETS. I mean, it goes back to what we were saying, right, Joe? If you're going to hire a coach, to me, it's got to be someone that has done it at a high level before with the experience because it's so bad right now. You need someone to basically erode the stench, fumigate the building that is all the losing these last 14 years.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I'd love to sit down with Woody and just talk to him and say, do you understand what's happening here? Do you get that? I know he wants to win. I'm not disputing the fact that Woody Johnson wants to win, but I just don't think he really realizes how you go about doing that.
Right.
You got to you got to build your team through the draft. It generally does. I know Brady won the Super Bowl in Tampa, worked out for him and all that one year in Tampa, but it generally doesn't go that way. Generally you got to draft that quarterback that's going to be the franchise quarterback. It generally works that way. Not all the time. You see Baker Mayfield in Tampa. It does not always, but that's generally how it goes down, bro.
It's just amazing that the Jets tried to do exactly what Tampa did, what Denver did with Peyton Manning, several years before that. When Stafford goes to the Rams, and it's like the Jets try it, and it's not like, okay, they didn't win the Super Bowl, but at least they gave us a couple fun years, like when Montana went to the Chiefs in the 90s, for example.
They went to the AFC Championship
right,
game.
It's like the Jets try it, and like not only does it go poorly, it's one of the biggest failures in sports history. Like only this franchise deals with this stuff.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Dan says 2 of those wins could come against Miami. They'll pick higher than us, and we'll get second place schedule next year. And all 3 second place teams will be Dan down bad. I mean, it's just.
Well, I don't know where Miami is. They blew a big game. They had a 10-point lead. Tua was back. They had a 10-point lead late against the Cardinals and wound up blowing that game. So, they're a disaster too.
Thank you to Justin, who became an official Asmaniac channel member here, supporting the show. Appreciate you, Justin. Philip John says, Joe and Jake, can you autograph my bottle of Paxil as a fellow suffering fan?
What is Paxil? I have no idea. Is that some kind of like super drug or something?
It sounds like
it.
I don't know the specifics, Philip John, but I will look into it for you. NYC says, Jets are the laughing stock. Mr. Bonesy says, I got nothing left. Last time Woody asked for help finding a GM, he paid millions to find McCagnon. JD wouldn't stay if Woody wanted him to. It's over. I mean, that's the other thing, too. He doesn't even technically need to fire Joe Douglas. He's going to live out all 6 years of this contract and just be, not renewed. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Jack says, I'll come with Joe to help with the vet coaches. There you go.
Yep. There we go.
Richard says Mangini equals GM, Kingsbury head coach. I have no idea what Mangini
so good in Arizona, did he, Kingsbury?
But I will say this, we are seeing some guys with their second opportunities have some success.
Yeah.
We mentioned Bowles. Look at Dan Quinn now with the Commanders.
Dan Quinn's rolling now, yeah.
I just think I think this coaching hire needs to be experienced.
He did take a team to the Super Bowl, too. I mean, he did take the Falcons to the Super Bowl. So, he's not that bad a coach. They blew that game, and he kind of never recovered from it there in Atlanta. But, he's proven he's a pretty good coach, Quinn.
NYC says, I bleed green, but my blood is thinning out. I totally get it. Mr. Reality says Ben Johnson would interview us. Let that sink in. I mean, there's going to be a jet tax to get one of these top guys. Like, Woody's going to have to spend big bucks to get one of these top candidates because they're going to have other options too, and the Jets aren't a great option now.
Why do you want to come here? Why would why do you want to come to this disaster? Why would you want to come to this mess? It's a mess. It really is.
And Jeffrey says, only thing left for me this season is to try to have some fun. Can we play the Jeopardy theme song every time Aaron Rodgers gets under center? I can't. Oro says, I wasn't crazy with what I said last week. Trade everyone, tank the season, also fire everyone, hire a new GM, hire Mike Vrabel. LOL. Look, Vrabel to me would be a guy who would make some sense if you go down the experience path.
I'm in for Vrabel.
Dylan says, actually not watching Thursday Night Football. Feel for the fellow fan. Thanks for your hard work, Jake. Love you, Joe. Back to the drawing board with Chris Johnson, possibly.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that's great.
Sneakers to boots. I'm so despondent and catonic from this epic disaster. I'm officially broken. If only we knew we'd be 7-4 and miss the playoffs, and it only gets worse. Yeah, I mean, last year hurt because of the what if with Rodgers going down. This year, we basically have been waiting 2 years for this year. And not only is it bad, it's historically bad. It makes no sense.
Historically bad. Yep.
2 more for Joe. Tyrone says, I'm a crazy Jet fan since my older brother, RIP, was putting pics of the Jets Super Bowl win and Mets championship win in 69. I will believe to the end. We have 9 games. 8-1 gets us in. Go Jets.
Yeah, 8-1. That's happening. 8-1. Right. All right, look, they still could win, 11 games? I mean,
Greatest run in Jet history starts on Thursday.
Oh, God.
Bo writes in, I just need a coach that's aware there's more to our running game than basic dives and draws. The offense is as rudimentary as the coach. Rex was on ESPN this morning talking about how bad the Jet running game is. They have no idea how to block it up front. And why is Keith Carter, the offensive line coach, still here today?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I tell you, I would put Fastener on you. If I would play him, I really would. I mean, why is he not playing? Get him in there, man. Let's go.
Last one from KJH here. He says, last time the Jets were this bad was coat type. Parcells came in and turned around the franchise. Is there a Parcells in today's NFL? I can't think of one. That's what they need, a czar of football to lead the organization.
They do. They do. I don't know who they got. Like I tell you, as crazy as it is, it's so effed up. Why not put Rex as the head coach like right now? Why not? I mean, that's because it's so bizarre as it is. It's such a disaster. It's such a bizarro world. Would it really hurt?
Unreal. Johnny speaks for everyone watching this live right now. Hey, Joe, thanks for letting us stare at the pain written all over your face every Monday morning with Jake Asman. Johnny, thanks for watching.
Well, we love working with Jake. Jake does a great job. He really does. I got to meet your family yesterday, too. Your mother, your stepfather. So I met everybody.
Yeah, my fan was excited to meet him. My dad was bummed he couldn't make it yesterday, Joe, but he's watching right now.
Yeah, well, tell your father I said hello.
Absolutely. Well, Joe, I hope you had a good time besides the actual game yesterday.
Yep.
I'm glad you were able to mix it up.
It was good. I met a lot
of
nice people yesterday. It's a really good place there. It's a great venue to watch the games. They got the game on a big screen. All the other games are going. It was a stellar day yesterday, in spite of the outcome.
Yep. Well, Joe, all the love. Thank you for doing this. And I guess we're doing this Friday morning if you're down right after.
Oh, that's right. Friday much right. I got a quick turn. I got to go through all this nonsense on a Friday now too. What a disaster.
Last time they played Thursday night, Friday was Joe B Day. You came on in the morning. I did your show at night. Maybe we get a Jet win on Thursday.
Oh my God.
Unreal.
Can't see how to. I can't believe that they're a pick'em in this game right now. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I just looked into it too, by the way. So Nico Collins is out, and Stephon Diggs probably isn't playing, so that might have something to do with it.
Maybe.
But still, I mean, the Jets just allowed some guy named Booty to shred him, so I don't think it matters.
We'll uncover some new wide receiver we never heard of to make some big play to kill us. Don't worry.
Unreal, Joe. All the love, Joe. Thanks for doing this.
All right, Jake. God bless. Love and happiness.
God bless the great Joe Benigno with his weekly spot on the show. If you're new around here, please subscribe to the channel. And also, quick announcement to all my fellow Yankee fans. I'm hosting a watch party with ESPN tomorrow night for Game 4 of the World Series. We'll be at Vanderbilt Market, which is right next to Grand Central Station. New spot. They got 20 screens. It's going to be an awesome place to watch the game. So hopefully the Yanks win tonight. And then tomorrow we're talking about even up this World Series at 2 games apiece. So check it out if you're a Yankee fan looking for a spot in the New York City area to watch Game 4. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. I'm staying on for more of your super chats, and we'll get to some of your calls as well, as we will continue to react to one of the darker days in Jet history. And I don't think that's hyperbole. Joe's been watching this team since they were the New York Titans. He's telling you he thinks it's never been worse than it is right now. And I think that's what's so depressing, because it's like, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know where you go. I don't know who you hire. I once upon a time, I truly thought they had the right GM. I had some faith that, this head coach would get better. He'd learn, right? He hadn't had a quarterback, but the defense remained elite. Guys never quit on him. They played for him. And it just all fell apart. And it's hard to stomach. Gangrene says 15 years of dysfunction and losing, I give up. Yeah. I mean, now, if you want like a very small silver lining, we have now reached the point of the season where win or lose, it just doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt as much. Like if they lose Thursday, am I going to be that surprised? Am I going to be that upset? Like obviously I'm going to root for them to win until it's over. Like actually over. But you know what I mean? Like it doesn't hurt as much now. Like I said it yesterday, like it's the last day I'm just going to be enraged and angry. Now even today I'm not as angry as I normally am, because it's just like they're done. They're shot. They're over. They're a bad football team. It stinks. Chris says, do you guys think Rodgers forcing his way a play and handcuffing the coaching staff? I think it's lazy just to blame Rodgers. I do. I'm not saying he's been great. Obviously, he hasn't been, but I don't put yesterday on him. Now, the delay of games and that, it's a bad look for him. It is. But when he needed to get this team down the field and lead a game-winning drive, he did it. And then the defense choked. Well, what's the excuse for the defense? Oh, the injuries? Yeah, Jermaine Johnson getting hurt is a big blow. But come on, man. This D-line had Reddick on it yesterday. You still have McDonald, who's got 8 sacks this year. Quinnen had a big game yesterday. It wasn't his fault. Sauce is back. Reed is back. Carter's back. And you still lose to the Patriots? And their backup quarterback? I'm not telling you Aaron Rodgers is blameless or he's been great, but he's clearly not what he was. He's clearly playing hurt, too. I mean, if you watch Rodgers against this New England team in that home opener, the way he was moving, the way off schedule he created stuff, bought time, and then you watch him now, he can't move, which is why I said last week, maybe they should play Tyrod and let Rodgers sit and get healthy before the Texans game, but they were never going to do that. And honestly, I don't know if they went with Tyrod yesterday. I know some Jet fans are saying, oh, they definitely would. Really? With this kicker or this defense still? I don't know if they would have won. And honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, obviously they'd keep hope alive for another couple of days, but they're not winning anything with this team. They have no coach. They went from poorly coached to not having a coach. Sco says, when's the next Jake meetup? It will be at my funeral. You guys will have to let me know how it goes one day because Steve is actually killing me. As of now, we don't have anything scheduled. The next meetup, I guess, is actually Thursday night. I will be tailgating with Gotham City crew. To all my listeners who bought tickets for this game. So I'll see you there. Mad Team Parents. Been a Jet fan for 52 years, and never have I been so disgusted in a Jet season. Where's the urgency of the defense? The last drive was horrible. Yeah, I mean, it's every week it's a new way to lose. Some weeks it's the bad first half, but then they give you the fake comeback in the second half, a la the Vikings game in London. Some weeks it's a good first half, and then they completely collapse, a la the Steelers game. Yesterday, it's you just play down to your level of competition, the likes of which we've seen no Jet team do before. You know, some games it's just your kicker is just brutal, a la the Buffalo game, where like they should have won that game. They played well enough to win on both sides of the ball besides their line. Like, it's just everything right now. It's just their joke. It's just, it's sad. I mean, I am deeply, deeply troubled by what we have watched this season. I keep coming back to this phrase I started using last week because it's the reaction I'm seeing in the chat, the amount of people who have privately reached out to me talking about canceling their tickets and just not being able to do it anymore. Like, they've done irreparable damage to this great fan base. Because, yes, the long-suffering Jet fan has been around, but like if you're a younger generation Jet fan, you've never had a team you thought like this going in. Especially if you're like someone who doesn't even now remember the Rex years, which, don't laugh, there's a lot of people that listen to my show in that 18 to 24-year-old demographic I check out that don't actually recall the Rex years. It's been so long. Like, those are my best years as a fan, right? Like, during the 2000s, the Jets were good. They weren't the Patriots, right? They didn't win the division other than 0-2, but they went to the playoffs a lot. They never had back-to-back losing seasons. Like, they were good. Even with Favre, it ended up being a disaster, but they were 8-3, and then he played through injury and it fell apart. Like, there are younger fans who don't even know what it's like when this team is in the playoffs. That's how bad it's been. And that's why I use the word irreparable, because unless they win, which you have no path to doing it anytime soon, when does that happen? Like, seriously, if you're 24 or under, you don't remember the Rex years, 23 or under. You were in grade school. Crazy. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in right now. We're in this together. I want to thank our post-game sponsors again for yesterday, Joe DeVizio and his team at Joe DeVizio Realty. SellWithJoe.com, Jet fans. We want Woody to sell the team. That's not happening, but if you're trying to sell your home, Joe and his team can help you do that. And I want to thank Liam at Custom Bourbon Tours, CustomBourbonTours.com. I had some bourbon last night when I got off the air with my T-Bell, and it was needed. Try and numb this pain. CustomBourbonTours.com. Book your vacation today. Shout out to our post-game sponsors once again. KJH says, need an overall football guy to come in, but I don't know who is out there. Do you entertain offers for Sauce? Obviously, we should trade the vets on one-year deals, but Sauce is not worth $30 million a year. Well, why do we have to pay Sauce then? Right? Let him go earn his contract. He's not a free agent after this year. He's got 2 more years left on his deal. What's the urgency to trade Sauce Gardner? And I still like Sauce, and maybe with a better coach and the right scheme, he can rebound and be better. Like, we know the talent's there. He was a first-team All-Pro for 2 years. But you're not paying him $30 million a year. He doesn't impact the game enough to justify that. I'm not trading Garrett Wilson, though. I want to say this again. Garrett Wilson has a very high give-a-shit rating, and that matters to me. This guy wants to win. This guy is proven to be quarterback-proof. He cares. Once again, we talk about this fan base wanting it more than the players. Not everyone. Not Garrett Wilson. My concern is, does Garrett even want to be here? It's so bad that playing for this team, he's just going to want out. That's my concern, honestly. But I'm not trading him. No way. See, here's the thing. This team still does have some talent on it. Obviously, they need to get better along the margins with some of these guys on one-year deals. But with a real coach, as we've seen, it doesn't take forever to rebuild. The Commanders are the favorites to win the NFC East. The Texans were a bigger joke than the Jets. I was in Houston for 6 years. I talked about them every day on ESPN Houston. They had a preacher running their organization. They were a bigger clown show than the Jets have ever been until now. And then they made the right hires with D'Amico and drafted C.J. Stroud, and look at them. Like, these rebuilds don't need to take decades. If you hire the right people, but the Jets never get it right with those people, ever. Dante says, this team deserves it, but I'm sick of the Jets' failures being the top news in the NFL. At least this week, the Bears are taking the heat more than us. I mean, this is probably the last week the Jets are the quote-unquote, like, top news, though, you know? Like, ESPN was going to milk it for all it's worth because they get ratings. Especially Rodgers. He's a lightning rod. Love him or hate him. You have an opinion on him? It just sucks, man. BC says, Jake, I used your promo code to buy a ticket to the Jets-Rams game thinking they'd win yesterday and it'd go up. But now it's half of what I paid. BC, I got to be honest. Thank you for supporting the sponsor. That's a bad job by you. You're worried about the Rams game in December? Just wait. All right, we've reached a part of the year where fans are going to start sending me their tickets to now give to young Jet fans, or a dad to take their son, or a mom to take their daughter. Like, I probably gave away 150 tickets by the end of last year's regular season. And we always tried to give them to people that can maybe take their kid to a game who maybe couldn't afford to go. And I'll do that again. If you're a season ticket holder, you're trying to unload your seats, you know, we'll find people that maybe could go and give a young fan an experience. But, like, BC, if you just waited, man, I could have got you in that building for free. and I'm not kidding, man. This is my 4th year doing this, right? I know how this goes. I have given away probably more tickets over the last, 3 years now than anyone. It's crazy, man. And this fan base is so loyal and wants to do right, and it sucks. Dominic says, Cody Suits and I will be in attendance Thursday. You burning a Texan jersey or a Jet jersey? There's no jersey burn, Dominic. They quit. L5 shut it down. That's why we're doing Gotham City this week. The Jets killed the L5 tailgate this year, or at least for this game. I don't know. That was the original plan. We were going to go to L5, and now, thanks to Gotham City for hosting us, giving my listeners a group rate. $55 for food, drink, games, live DJ, and more if you use promo code Asman. So thank you to Gotham City crew. Sears writes in, put their official website, Jets employ more staff in media and content than they do executive staff, player development, and football ops combined. Yeah, I mean, the front office stinks. Everything's got to be overhauled. Is Joe Douglas even the GM right now? Like, I'm surprised we didn't get the announcement he's resigned or they parted ways when Joe was on. Because seemingly, every time Benigno comes on this show after a Jet loss, there's been some insane breaking Jet news, whether it's Saleh fired or Devontae. I was waiting for the Joe Douglas has resigned. Richard says, Jets got it right with Mangini, Tannenbaum, and Rex. Yeah. And then Woody pulled the plug on Tannenbaum and kept Rex, and that kind of started this cycle. That's why I was very against firing Saleh, but JD gets to stay last year. It was they both go or they're both back. Ultimately, they went with both being back, and it proved to be a mistake. We could do it over. They would have fired both of them. And you know what? It's no one's fault this happened, but Rodgers getting hurt ended up being crippling because last year could have been this year. And then they would have had this year with a new coach to try and get it right with Rodgers. And now it's like, we're going to do this again next year? No. Like, if Aaron wants to come back because he's under contract, okay. but you're no longer making moves in the best interest of what Aaron Rodgers wants or what is the best to maximize this window you have with him. The window's over. If he's here while you're drafting a quarterback, in my opinion, that's learning behind him. And then eventually you're making that transition. Dre says, I'm only going to the game on Thursday to see my fellow Asmaniacs. F this team. I hope they trade Garrett so we can win a championship elsewhere. Sucks. Dre, I look forward to seeing you, though. Everyone who's going to the game, I mean, we'll have fun. If there's anything we know how to do as Jet fans, it's still show up and make the best of it. Philip John, Woody needs to use AI to hire this next regime. I mean, Woody needs to stop listening to the wrong people and actually hire competent football people. It's enough. This whole thing's a nightmare. Thank you to Louie for the super chat. All your super chats today are very generous, guys. Thank you. I mean, win or lose, I'm still talking about this team every day. This is my full-time job, so I really appreciate the support. Jake, I'm speechless. This wasn't supposed to be like this. Sauce is a terrible game, and he has zero ball hawk skills. We definitely ain't paying him this offseason. Matter of fact, trade him. I think trading Sauce is short-sighted. You're trading him when his value is at his absolute lowest. I mean, once again, this team will look different next year. I don't know if it means you got to trade away your best players. I think with better coaching, your players will play better. The Steelers aren't more talented than the Jets, but they get the most out of their talent. They play like a team. I think that's what the Jets need. And it's just, wow. We got this guy making the decision too. Great.
You know, thinking is overrated.
So is winning, apparently. Man. If you're watching live right now, Joe Benigno was on with us for the first hour of the show. Appreciate everyone tuned in. Thanks to all the new subscribers from Joe. I'm trying to get to 40,000 subscribers, and since this is probably the last week many of you will watch the show because the team is such a disaster, please hit the subscribe button before you check out for the rest of the year. Because I've done this now 4 years, and once you hit that point where the season's over, I've seen it, unfortunately. So right now I'm at 39,850. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. So I need to get to 40K before there's no chance of growing this channel anymore. Brett says, can Texans fans join the tailgate? Yes, any of my old Houston listeners who are subscribed to this channel, if you're going to this game Thursday and you want to join the Gotham tailgate, you're more than welcome to. All right, let's open up the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline right now. A lot of Jet fans want in. I couldn't get to everyone on the postgame show last night because we had so many people watching. So thanks to everyone who tuned into that. Let's get to your calls now.
If you go to gusbuster.com, you could purchase the best umbrella in the universe. And you could use the promo code Jake, so you'll get 15% off on any of your umbrellas.
First up on the Gusbuster Hotline today is the Hamburger. Hamburger, hello, sir.
Good morning, Jake. How you doing?
I'm hanging in, man. I'm hanging in.
Yeah. Listen to Joe, and I still don't want Rex here. I watched his interview the other day. I guess it's on the Yard or something like that. Whatever show he did like an hour and a half interview.
Yeah, the pivot.
Yeah, that's what it was, the pivot. Listen, he's a great guy. I love Rex Ryan, but listen, I just do think the game has passed him by. And for Joe Douglas, I think he's going to still stay here till the end of the year. I think he's just like an empty seat. He's just going to be there. It's going to be a seat warmer for the team. And I don't think we need to dismantle the whole team. I don't think that does us any good for a new coach that are going to come in. I expect everybody to be gone. Offensive line coach, defensive, everybody. Clean house. And let the new general manager decide what he's going to do with the players that we have. You're looking at like Devontae's going to – you still want Devontae to stay. You still really want Aaron to stay. You still want the guys, Garrett Wilson, Gardner. You still want them to stay because with another coach, you're looking at, possibly having a better team next year, having the talent that we have perform as a team rather than just individuals. Because what we see right now is just it's disgraceful and it's disheartening, and it makes you not want to watch a team. I went on after I talked to you last night and I looked at Jet prices for tickets. $20 already for Thursday night.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. And you know what's crazy? When we did the group buy Hamburg, I don't know if you were a regular listener at that point. We were getting a discounted group rate at $135 a pop. They were normally selling for $195. We got a great deal, and now that deal, it's like you can get into the building for $20.
You can go that night and go at the gate and wait in the parking lot, and as soon as the gates open, buy your tickets. At that point, you'll probably get them for $15 to $10 a piece.
Or you could just reach out to me, and I'll probably have free ones to give away because we've reached that part of the year, which sucks.
Yeah, it's just it's tough, and I feel bad for all the younger Jet fans. I say it many times. Guys that haven't seen us win in the early 2000s and before that, our franchise was never this bad. I mean, this is brutal. In 42 years, I've never seen anything like this to an extent. From 14 years without playoffs and just abysmal season after abysmal season. It's just, I don't know, man. Like I said the other day, 4-13. That's how we finish out the year. That's what I believe. So, sorry, Jet fans.
Brutal, Hamburger. It is brutal. I mean, this is just hard to fathom. Super chat from Jordan. They waited 5 plays to get Reddick in the game on the final drive and had Clemens in there. Make it make sense. I mean, they're poorly coached. They went from, well, let me rephrase. I said it before. They went from poorly coached with Saleh to they don't have a coach with Jeff Ulbrich. And look, I like Jeff. He's in it over his head. The first thing he should do this week is step down from DC and let someone else call the plays. He's stretched too thin. And it was interesting because, I'm sick in the head. So I did go back last night once I finally had some time off radio on the YouTube show to do it, to watch Ulbrich's postgame. The last comment he made was asked about being stretched too thin and if he'd consider, delegating the defensive play calling responsibilities to someone. And he said he's open to it. He's like going to look into it. I bet you that's the change they make this week. The 2 things I'd like to see done. 1, fire Greg Zuerlein into the sun. He's not a bad guy. It's not personal, but it's a joke he even kicked yesterday. It's a joke he even kicked the Steeler game. He should have been cut after the Bills game. And then the second thing I would do, or actually 3 things. I'd play Olu at left tackle because Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter are going to eat Aaron Rodgers alive. Might not matter anyway, but I'd give Olu a chance at left tackle. And then I would also delegate the DC play call into someone else. Why not? None of these things really matter. This team's cooked, but, until you technically get that 7th loss, you might as well. NYC says, well, first check out on the Jets before checking out on you, Jay. Keep us saying, go Jets, go Asmaniacs. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I mean, look, for those of you who've been around the show a while, I mean, the show was only partially Jet opinions. The community is the show. So we'll keep that great community rolling. Like this next guy who was at our event yesterday, Nate, parentheses Nate. Hello, Nathan.
Jake, what is going on? Oh, man. It's shocking we're here. It's actually shocking we're here.
It really is, man. Just like saying the words, they're 2-6. Like, what?
Jake, if someone offered me a bet of I'll give you $10 million if the Jets have 3 wins before Halloween, but if they don't, I'll kill you. I would have taken that bet. I'd be dead right now. 100% of the time. I'd be like, we're going to get 3 wins. I would put my life on the line. I'm never going to have expectations in my life again for this team. For any, it's like what Mets fans know. I'm 31 years old. Mets fans know 06, 07, same thing. When I was 13 years old, I had the life sucked out of me. Carlos Beltran takes strike 3, and then the 7.5 game collapse. I was an 8th grader that convinced my parents to go to Philly with my friends, and I got beer poured on me when I knew it was over, and we missed our, like, it was just a traumatizing experience that I just, after that day, I was just never the same, like, expectations wise as a Mets fan. Just like, let it play out. It's the same thing. It's the same thing now with Jets fans. Like you said, there's irreparable damage that just, like, we got excited for this. Now they could literally get Bill Parcells and the 22 Pro Bowlers from the 2024 roster, and I would just wait. I would just wait to see it. Like, it's, even though Patriots fans they're laughing at us. They didn't want to win. They weren't expecting to win. They're not a good team. That just, like, they weren't even trying to win. They used 2 quarterbacks. It was insane. And still, on top of how bad everything was yesterday, and Greg missing kicks, we know our kicker cost us 3 games, right? We'd be 5-3, and we all wouldn't even be having this conversation. We'd be, obviously, it's not a perfect team. But Jake, can you see this screen? This is the 4th and goal play. What if I told you we had Sam Aguavin, Kaz Surratt, then you had Sherwood and Quincy, 4 linebackers, and Jalen Mills. All 3 of these guys are like 6 yards off the ball. Like Jalen Mills is 8 yards off the ball. The 2 linebackers are 6 yards off the ball. They have 8 guys lined up. They're 2 inches from the goal line. And right here is 8 versus 4. We have 4 D linemen right here, because I'm not counting the edge, who's Watts, bro. We have Watson. We have undrafted Watts on for our season on the line. It's Watson Clemens. Watson Clemens, so they don't count. That's a wash. Then it's 8 versus 4. So regardless of what the play was, it's gonna win. They're gonna win. And on top of it, if you run it through Leonard Taylor was right there. Our undrafted rookie was right there. He couldn't grab a jersey. He couldn't grab anything. He whiffed on the play. But just like 8 versus 2. See right here, he just, like, he had him and whiffed. Leonard Taylor ends up on the ground. It's the most Jet-like loss to happen. It seriously hurts. Regarding the coaching, Jake, and the timeouts, we got nothing. We got nothing with the coach. Like, 3 timeouts on the first was a joke. You asked Snowball. I literally said, he's going to do something ridiculous later, like take a delay a game on a 2-point conversion to say it gives us more room, for opens the playbook. And then we did it. I was trolling Snowball in the first quarter, and then we did it later that game, and we had 2 timeouts. Why do you not take it? Like, that's your job as a coach. How do you not take a timeout in the most pivotal play in the game to that moment? You need to get those 2 yards to go up 3. You're just be staring at the clock. Even if Rodgers doing an adjustment, take a timeout at 1 second. And then at the end of the game, when they're driving down the field, Jake, with a minute left, why is he taking a timeout? We have 1 timeout left. That's goal. If we need a Hail Mary, we need anything, we need a field goal to tie. We're up 5, right? So regardless of what they did, we're going to be within a field goal. Why are you taking a timeout? Like, they need to get a touchdown regardless. They need to manage the clock. If they're either going to get a touchdown or they're not going to get a touchdown, we're going to stop them. Taking 1 timeout and then being left with nothing, with 40-something seconds left, does nothing. They could have knelt the ball, run the play, run it all the way down, and then go for a touchdown. It does nothing to take that timeout when it could have been in Rodgers' pocket at the end. Again, it doesn't do anything. I'm just saying that we don't have a coach. I don't agree with the Rex people that are saying bring Rex back, even though at this point, do you remember the last time we failed when we had expectations, Jake? What we did, it was like 2009, 2010, and then 2011, 12. Victor Cruz is still running away from me at MetLife Stadium, and then the Giants.
2016 as well, after they were 10-6 in 2015.
Right, but I don't know. The expectations weren't the same. But Tim Tebow happened. Tim Tebow happened to save season tickets. Do you remember that? Like, it was going to be a downhill spiral, and Tim Tebow happened.
Yeah, it was right after the Giants won the Super Bowl, and Mike Tannenbaum's genius idea with Woody was to bring in Tim Tebow.
Right, but I think a lot of that was a PR stunt and to save season tickets, as they obviously have to do right now. I'm reconsidering my season ticket. I never thought I would be doing that. I was so excited for this year. Even last week, I was like, all right, they'll beat the Patriots. I'll be excited. It's crazy. But my point is that I think there's actually a chance they bring Rex back. I think it's just a Tim Tebow thing. It's like what Woody knows what would ignite the fan base, what would get X amount of 1,000 more season tickets, and Rex Ryan would. Neil would be back on board. There's 15,000 right there. You bring Rex back. You know what I'm saying? And there's hundreds of those people.
Yeah, but you know what? I think sometimes we overrate the season tickets stuff. Like, the revenue comes from the television contracts that the NFL has. That's where like the bulk of the money comes from. Like, season tickets is a part of it, but like they're still making money hand over fist. I think Rex would make sense if you sold me on what his coaching staff is and who the general manager is too. Because the big issue with Rex, the Jets' downfall started during that era when he got more involved in personnel and like Mangini's players were no longer there. Look at the drafts they had post 2010, like Kyle Wilson. You keep going through, some of the decision picks.
Calvin Pryor, baby.
Quentin Copels, Calvin Pryor. Like they hit on no mid-round picks during those years. They got rid of Jericho Cotry. They gave Sanchez the extension, which was silly. Like there were a lot of issues, but like Rex could coach. I mean, at least he did in 2013 with that team going 8-8 was insane. It's just who's his OC, who's the GM. Like I got to see what the rest of it looks like. But I mean, I think the idea of going with someone that has experience is not a bad idea. And Rex would excite the fan base, but I would need to know more about who he's bringing with him. His son still coaches in the league, so he's still plugged in. Could he get some people from the Lions coaching staff, like from the Lions front? Can he get the assistant GM of the Lions under Brad Holmes to work with him? Like I'd have to look into it, but like something like that would excite me. At least that's an option,
It just feels like Woody has his hand in everything now, and if he's gonna have a say, and if Rex ends up being an interview candidate, I would absolutely put my money on Rex getting the job. Just like, I mean, again, I agree with you, like get a good staff in, whatever, but I just think it's, especially after the Jets fans get to watch him on ESPN every single week and just beg for that type of passion, when Woody knows he would get the response that he wants out of the fan base, and he's done plenty of moves in his ownership career to somewhat please the fans. And I'm not saying just to please the fans, but it's like, to me, it would be his little Tim Tebow opportunity all over again to kind of distract everyone from the disarray. And
yeah, but this would be different. You know what I mean? Like, and good call, Nate. But like Tebow was like a joke. Like Rex won 4 road playoff games. Like he's the second best coach in franchise history, in my opinion. The one thing I'll say, though, about this disaster, and I've seen this online and all the, the hot take shows are debating it, should the Jets regret bringing in Aaron Rodgers? I don't regret shit. All right, that was the right move. It hasn't worked, and ultimately it won't work, it doesn't appear. That wasn't the wrong move. I'm not criticizing Woody Johnson for that, or like Joe Douglas did what he had to do because he screwed up the Zach Wilson pick. They would not be better off with Derek Carr right now. They would not be better off with Jimmy G right now. They were a 7-10 team in 2022 that was 7-4. That team truly was a quarterback away. They were winning in spite of Zach Wilson. And then they would have made the playoffs if Mike White didn't fracture 4 ribs in Buffalo. It was the right move to get Rodgers. Unfortunately, him getting hurt last year allowed everyone part of this regime to come back this year. We could have had this year last year and then had a chance to rectify it this year, if that makes sense. We never got that chance. It was the right move. Based on what we knew at the time and the options that were available, it was the right move. He gave them the best chance to win. It hasn't worked. But I love all the people being like, they mortgaged the future for Rodgers. What future? Ultimately, they traded a 2nd-round pick for Aaron Rodgers. They traded a 3rd-round pick to get Devontae Adams. What future? They got $50 million in cap space this upcoming year. It's not like they can't make moves to improve the team, but none of these moves matter if they don't get the GM and coaching hire, right? But I just laugh. Oh, the typical Jets. We all knew it was a mistake to get Aaron Rodgers. No, it wasn't. It hasn't worked. It's the right move. And these morons saying the Jets would be better off with Zach Wilson. If he's so good, why is he a 3rd-string quarterback right now? You're just a clown. Kiss my ass if you believe that. Please. Kiss my ass. Morons. Like, there's a difference of being angry and then just being completely irrational. Those people are the worst. They'd be better off with Zach Wilson. Losers. You're a loser. I'm looking right at you, Wilson Truther. You're a loser. Loser. L on your forehead. Hasn't worked, but the idea that, oh, they would have been better off with Derek Carr, where they should have stuck with Zach and gave him more time. Really? Okay. You must not remember how bad it was. The biggest problem this year, and I'll say it again, what we thought Rodgers was going to have to work with, it hasn't even been close. He does not have an elite running game we thought he'd have. He does not have an elite defense that we thought he'd have. I mean, they've lost 3 games because of their kicker. Greg Zuerlein was 35 of 38 last year. He had the best I looked it up. Greg Zuerlein had the best statistical season a Jet kicker has ever had last year. That's why they gave him all this rope. Now, they gave him way too much rope. He should have been gone after the Bills game. Shouldn't have kicked in Pittsburgh. Shouldn't have kicked yesterday. Excuse me, I'm dying. This might be my last show. Hope you all liked it. But you couldn't have predicted this. Even for Jet standards, it's cruel. That's why they're not winning with Rodgers. He's not what he was. We know that. He's also hurt. We could see that. But the reason why they're not winning, it's like, oh, the Jets just thought they were a quarterback away, and it turns out they're not. Yeah, if they had last year's team, they would have been a quarterback away. They don't. This GM completely destroyed the defensive line. He botched the Reddick situation. They had some tough luck with Tremaine going down in week 2. That's a brutal loss to that defensive line. He was their best overall lineman. He's good against the rush. He's good against the run. He's a gamer. He brings leadership qualities to this defense they desperately need. That's the biggest difference. And obviously firing Saleh didn't work. The move, but I love the people that are like, how could they fire Saleh? When these are all the people telling you how bad of a coach he was. That hasn't worked. But you know what? The mistake was not firing him. It was not firing him after the season ended. And I was pro either he's gone with Douglas or they're both back. Because I didn't want to relive another mistake Woody Johnson made in 2012 when after that year he fired Mike Tannenbaum and basically forced a GM to work with a coach he didn't hire. And obviously Rex and Izek butted heads because guess what? They were never aligned. What a joke. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Your super chats are going to my medical bills because I feel like I'm dying inside talking about this team. So thank you to everyone for the support. Let's get to some of your calls right now on the Gus Buster hotline. I woke up today. I'm like, wow, this team is 2-6. 2-6. Unreal. SEAL Team 75, assemble.
The Clapping Seals, they're alive and well in the chat.
Gotta blow my nose, Gary, before I deal with one of your calls. I'm ill already.
Yeah, I don't. Get some rest, drink a bunch of water, cut out the sugar. You'll have that knocked out in less than 24 hours.
If the Yankees win tonight, that will provide some life, so we'll see.
I think they'll get one. I said 5. I'll give you this one. My Nets won yesterday. They beat Milwaukee. They romped them. So if the Nets can win, anybody can win, Jake. Not the Jets, I guess.
Not the Jets.
I guess I retract that statement. I guess I retract that statement.
They're allergic to winning.
Speaking of winning, did you see my boy Jameis Winston?
Congrats to your boy Jameis Winston. Yeah, big win for the Brownies.
You told me Tyrod was better than him, so we got to
I still
take back
think
those trash takes. Yeah, Jameis Winston. Yeah.
Okay, because Jameis Winston played a good game. That now means he's better. Okay, and whatever helps you sleep, Gary.
Tyrod Taylor better than Jameis Winston, huh?
Yeah, I stand by that. Yes.
Tyrod Taylor's not starting. Jameis Winston is.
Okay, Jameis Winston wasn't starting until the alleged sexual deviant ruptured his Achilles. Continue.
Which he was cleared of. Those were dropped.
I said alleged.
Alleged. You did.
I also lived in Houston, where I know a lot more to that whole story than a lot of what's reported too. But I'll leave it at that.
Speaking of Jack Easterby, that was his name.
Easterby.
He was a chaplain, and he was a scout and team development for the Patriots for years. Like, I feel like you're making fun of him. Right? Yeah, he was a chaplain for the team.
He had no personality. Google Jack Easterby, Bill Belichick, and read the quote Belichick gave about what Easterby's role was with the team.
Okay, I know he worked for the Patriots, and like when they won,
he was the chaplain. He was the team chaplain,
but he was also a scout. Yeah,
he was not really a scout. I don't want to. I don't. My point with bringing up Easterby was, like, as bad as the Jets are right now, the Texans situation actually you could argue was worse, and they were able to figure it out. And it's like it comes down to hiring the right people. And I have no faith Woody is going to be able to hire the right people. But Texans fans were saying the same thing about Cal McNair when he was letting a preacher run the team. And eventually he actually made the right hires with Caserio and D'Amico Ryans.
Also, speaking of the right move, Brock Bowers on pace for 100 and 1,000. Olu doesn't see the field. You gotta start making right decisions at some point. You gotta start making good decisions at some point. This is tough to watch. Every week I got to do this. Olu doesn't get on the field. Brock Bowers gets 6 catches, 60 yards.
But that doesn't mean Olu's a bad player. I mean, Will McDonald didn't get on the field last year, and he's
put him
leading
on the field.
I agree, but I can't force Olu on the field. I'm not the coach of the Jets. If I was, he would have been playing.
Yeah, one of the worst teams in the league. What's the if he's any good at all? If there's any upside, why not put him on the field? What do we
said
have
this last year though? Last year was a lost year too by the end, and Will McDonald wasn't playing either. You know, I don't know what to tell you, Gary. I think Olu should be playing too. They're not playing him right now.
And Caleb Williams was 10 for 24 for 130 yards and threw and had.
I'm not doing this where you take one game and then you try and justify your
every
takes.
game except for one. He's had one good game. The rest have been garbage.
That's not true at all. That's not true. Caleb Williams had more than one good game this year,
and it was against the Panthers. It was one good game, and it was against the Panthers.
He played great in London against the Jaguars. I watched it.
I didn't see it. Did he play well? I didn't see that. It was on.
Okay, guys. Obviously, you did. Goodbye. Okay. I'm not dealing with your bullshit.
I'm not going to do the clapping seal part.
What do you mean?
I do want to, but I'm not going to do it because Gator's going to use it out of context, and then it's going to go viral, and then I'm going to have to look at it forever.
Just stop, Gary. Stop. I'm not putting up with it anymore. I'm not. He's had one good game. I bring up another game. Oh, I didn't watch that one. So apparently in Gary's world, it doesn't count if he personally didn't see it. I can't with you. You seal. Next time you call in, if you're not making seal noises, you're not on the show, Gary. That's all you're bringing to the table these days right now. God damn it, man. Ah, love you, Gary. Can't do it. More of your calls right now. Alec K is next. Hello, Alec.
Hey, Jake. We're back. We're back here. A couple things I felt like we definitely needed to hit on from last week going into this week. I think every Jet fan can agree, and I'm with you. If Greg Zuerlein walks into the building this week, I just don't understand how you, as a coach, could look at him.
Well, then they're tanking. That's my only explanation. It's like they're not trying to win if Greg Zuerlein. And, look, obviously we all think the season's over. The players can't think that way. The players got to look at it like, look, we just lost 5 games in a row, but 4 of them have been by 1 score. Like, we still could go on a run. Like, that's the player and coach mentality. If Greg Zuerlein kicks, they're sending a message they don't give a flying F.
It's just zero accountability in the building, and we've all talked about it from top down. There's just nothing, a lack of understanding of how organizations should run, how football teams work, how grown men in a locker room are going to come together or separate. There's no acknowledgement of what there is. And a couple points I wanted to hit on. I appreciate the Jet fan who still likes Rex. I do. I was not totally young for that. I mean, I'm 30 now, so I lived enough through it and was aware for most of it to remember the flameouts and the burnouts and the sideline fights and the inability to change on offense and update the scheme and so on. I can't get behind the idea of ever bringing back a Rex or a Tannenbaum. It's just, they're so far out of the game. We're talking almost 15 years out. It just doesn't make sense. And they showed that they couldn't adapt back then. If we were going to bring somebody in, I know everybody in here has talked about Ben Johnson. Everybody has probably heard me talk about Ben Johnson in the chat. I'm begging for them to bring Ray Agnew in. Like, I am absolutely begging them to just go to the Lions and poach as much talent as you physically possibly can. Ray Agnew was a former first-round pick. He won a Super Bowl in 1999 with the Rams. He's been absolutely incredible. He's got a Newsome level of aura when it comes to what he's brought to the Lions and really, truly what he's trying to bring when he builds a team. Talk to him. If you get him, Ben Johnson is coming. Like, Ben Johnson will come with him. He's a very close friend of his. They enjoy working together.
So you're talking about basically doing what the Giants did by poaching 2 guys from the Bills, 2 guys from the Lions?
Yeah, like absolutely. Poach them both, and then you can talk about anybody else. I've talked about Sherrod more from Michigan as a new type of O-line coach, bringing somebody from the collegiate ranks with these new faster paced schemes.
Sherrod Moore's the head coach, though. He's not going to leave Michigan to be an O-line
Yeah,
coach in the
yeah,
NFL.
yeah. It could be like something that's not going to happen anymore. It's a dream. It's certainly a dream. If not him, definitely call Matthew Berry over in the Seahawks and see. You know,
The
he's the
fantasy
senior
guy?
No, he's there. I don't know if this is the same name or if it's the same person because I'm really bad with faces and names. But he's the senior director of player personnel over there for the Seahawks.
No, I like the ideas, Alec. I really like.
Yeah.
Honestly, like this is the first week I'm going to really start doing the deep dive into who
Yeah,
we want.
that's where I'm at. I'm looking at 2025. There's no free agents available for quarterback. It's Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson are the two highest paid guys available. Don't even bring those conversations up. Sneakily, we could get Tyler Huntley. Maybe that's somebody you think about as a backup.
Well, I think it's either Rodgers or Tyrod with a rookie. If I had to guess now what the room
I'm big
looks like.
I'm big on Jordan Travis. Nobody has talked about Jordan Travis. Like he's not sitting there learning, rehabbing, getting. It's not a good offense, but he's learning an NFL offense right now. He should be our A1 for replacement. That's just me. I don't know. I don't know how we keep skirting past a kid who was going to be in the college football playoffs, was honestly on track to potentially win a Heisman, was also on track to potentially be considered one of the first round quarterbacks who would have been a top, 3 quarterback potentially picked if he doesn't get his leg blown up. I just don't know how we don't acknowledge. We have that literally sitting on the pup list doing jack shit. He might be worth it. I don't know. But calling Cam Ward a solution to Ewers is a little nuts to me. I think we have a questionable college quarterback.
Why not do both, Alec? Why not draft someone and then still have Jordan Travis compete with that with the bridge being Tyrod? Like
I'd rather go one more year. Give me one more year. I'd rather take a shot at a guy like a Manning or a Nico out of Tennessee, obviously being a Vols homer. That's a little bit of me, but I do think that class is a little bit stronger with Manning, Nico. I'm trying to think of some of the really big highlights in that class, but obviously.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Jordan Travis was a day 3 pick, though. I think expecting him to be the long-term answer at quarterback is like unfair. Like chances are he's not the guy. That's just statistically, it's very rare a day 3 pick is the guy.
Yeah, give me offensive line and defensive. I mean, no defensive line for at least in the first round, please. But build up the line. Let's figure out some stuff. We have skill guys. Devontae's here till 26. If we don't want to trade him, he's under contract. Like him and Garrett, I don't know why we would trade them. It gives us a great 2-piece option at wide receiver for anybody coming in. You should be able to scheme somebody open with this offense. So I don't know. I won't hold any more time, and I'll definitely. The semi-pro league, Nate, we're not going to do this right now. I'm not holding any this time, but it is a legitimate league. The NFL in Canton have partnered with the AFA. It is a legitimate league. These are not guys who need to let go of their high school dreams. These are legitimate grown men who just had injuries, flamed out of the NFL, a bunch of other stuff, and they're just still playing because love the game. Love the game.
Alec, any interest in being on the Jets advisory board to help hire the GM and coach? You sound like a football guy.
Man, I love the game, and I really, really would love to sit here and say yeah, I'd love to, but when it comes to this level of coaching, and that's the make or break here, I don't think any of us really know what it's going to come down to, what differentiates a guy who's like a 1A to a 1B. Like that change is so minute, and these guys in the locker room just have to pick up on small things. If we had good coaching on all levels, we'd see it throughout the game, whether or not the head coach was failing. Somebody would be able to step up, but our O-line's terrible. Our D-line's terrible. Our secondary looks like absolute dog shit. If I watch one more play of Sauce getting burned, I'm going to lose my mind. And it's just frankly there is a disconnect between what the fans are seeing, which we have endless access to replay. So do they. They have better angles than we do, but we as fans are better identifying the problems on this team and on this roster. And that just doesn't make sense. We're not the football guys. I mean, we are. We're not getting paid millions of dollars for this. So if the Jets want to back up a Brinks truck, I can definitely break down some film for them. I don't know about hiring a head coach or a GM.
Alec, good call, man. Love the passion. Brandon says, anyone know if Bonesy has been around? Haven't seen him in a while.
Wait, what's up? Oh, you just went to me. You didn't even say nothing? The only thing better than all them shoes is Joey D, cause he totally rules. Jake, my brother, I'm high as a kite. I love everybody. Damn, this show is crazy.
Hey, Bonesy.
Jake, my brother. You were waiting for me, I know, because I was helping people. I had the phone in my pocket so you could hear me, but you couldn't see me. But I'm broken, man. It's Woody Johnson. You know, he really sucks. He's making. He does, man. You know, I'm starting to really like. We all wanted. Everyone wanted Salah gone, and I get that, but I think the timing was bad in terms of like, just look at how bad the defense is played, and look at like Sauce, for instance. Sauce like, poured out his heart about Salah, and you could just see he's affected by it. Like, you don't fire a player's coach as bad as we wanted it mid-season. I mean, he was terrible. Would it have changed anything if we kept him? I don't know, but I don't know. Joe Douglas, you guys know how I always feel about him.
How about he gets a kicker, Bonesy? How about he doesn't make the same catastrophic mistake for the second year in a row of basically sitting on his ass and doing nothing? Last year was the backup quarterback situation. This year is the kicking situation. It's like Joe Douglas is not completely incompetent. He obviously has made some very good moves. We could point to them, but I'm sorry, he cannot be back. He's gone. He's 29 and 62. It's over.
Right. You're right. Look, this is my analogy. I'll give you two good analogies about Joe Douglas. If you're a person, you've been, your whole life, you haven't been really hitting hot chicks. You've been dating fours for the past 15 years, and then you get a 7. That 7 is a 10 to you, man. And that's what I am with Joe Douglas. It has been so bad. I've been dating fours for the last 15 years. You gave me a 7?
No, I met your wife. She's like a 15. She's wonderful.
Well, I'm just saying in general, or like that's like my best analogy of why I'm broken. Because like, look, the future of our defense, right? We got day 3 picks or undrafted guys who are going to be here holding down the linebacking core in Sherwood and Quincy, and you get what's his name off Who am I blanking on? Who did I just say that was the other? It was Quincy, it was Sherwood, and Michael Carter. Those are 3 day 3 guys that are going to be the future, foundation of what we got left. And those are just day 3 picks. Forget it. I don't even want to talk about the 22 draft with JD. I still can't forget of all the great trades he's made. And, it's hard for me to forget those things because we were so bad and incompetent with drafting talent and
but it hasn't
making
worked.
trades.
You know what? It ultimately hasn't worked. Like, we got to try something else. It's not working.
Agreed. I just that's why it's over. Joe Douglas wouldn't want to stay here if what? I should be more mad at Salah. Yeah, my brother's saying I should be more mad at Salah, which I am. Salah created an environment.
Where's Joe Bonesy at? Let's hear from Joe Bonesy.
Let's hear from Joe Bonesy. They want to hear from Joe Bonesy. Here, you need my earpiece. What's going on, Jake?
Joe Bonesy, it's good to see you as always. I wish it was under better circumstances. Now, before we get into the Jet misery, I want your thoughts on meeting King Lowski in person. What was it like?
It was great, Jake. I mean, I was in the back, and he walked in with his dad, and all I hear in the back is, Mr. Bonesy here?
Jet.
I was going to do that chant to him, but we kind of had one of the other guys here, and he's a little of a party pooper. But no, King Lowski was great. I recognized him right away. I was like, "Are you King?" He was like, "Yeah." All decked out in Knicks gear.
Yeah,
I just loved it.
That's awesome. Great. That's awesome. All right, your brother is still mourning Joe Douglas. Your thoughts on the state of the Jets?
Can I take it back?
Hold on, wait. Go ahead. Sorry, Jake.
Yeah, I said your brother is still mourning Joe Douglas. How do you feel about Joe and the Jets?
I feel like just devastated. I mean, the writing was on the wall this whole time. We all knew the culture that Salah built wasn't good enough. We tried playing ourselves, fooling ourselves that, things were going to be different, but it just isn't. And we're just going to have to move on. I mean, my brother is just all caught up on the picks and the talent that Douglas has brought in, but it doesn't matter if the culture isn't right and you don't have that winning mindset and, play with fire. play with the will to win, and we just don't have it. And just got to see who's gonna come in next. And I don't know. I mean, he's blaming Woody Johnson, but I mean, if Salah was still here, what would we teeter on 7 and 10? And
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
If Greg the Leg made some kicks,
yeah, if
we
Greg the Leg made
Salah
some
would
kicks,
still be here.
if Greg the Leg made some kicks yesterday, we'd still freaking be in it. But he didn't. So
All right. Hold on. Let me say one thing too. I am just as broken as everybody because you're in a position where you feel like, where do we go from here? Like, we still have Rodgers. We tried to make a couple moves. We invested a 3rd round pick in Devontae for what? Like, if it's not going to work, I feel lost. Yesterday, I haven't gotten to really watch a game with my son because the Jets are, always playing night games, always getting embarrassed on prime TV. It was our first 1 o'clock game together. The kid's hyped wearing a jersey, and then I'm in a terrible mood, and I'm telling him to take it off. He didn't want to take it off. We went to my grandmother's party. He's wearing the jersey. We get there, and my dad's there, and he's like, "Take that jersey off, Sonny." And then my son looks at me, and he's like, "Damn, Dad, everybody doesn't want me to wear this. I guess I'm going to take it off." And I'm like, my heart just broke, man, because, like, I pour so much into this team, and I revive I do my whole life around the Jets, and this is what we get. It's sad. You said it so many times. Brick is over his head. We have no coach now. We have no coach coaching the team. The team is playing dead. Rodgers can't even move laterally. I'm broken, man. I'm really crying. Everybody just wants me to shit on Joe Douglas, and I'm like I said, man. If you're dating 4s your whole 15 years and you get a 7, that 7 is going to be the best piece of ass that you've had in a long time. And I cannot give up. I can't give in. But it's gone unless Neil comes in on, what is it? Today is Monday. So if Neil comes in on Wednesday and he's rallying us that we're going on this 9-game win streak and everything's going to change, I'm hopping on because I don't want to give in. We're winning the next, 9 straight? Yes,
Yeah.
that's what we're doing, guys.
All right.
Over.
I do have a follow-up question here. The idea of King Lowski showing up to Alden's and then your brother being like, are you kidding? Out of context is hilarious.
Imagine a guy walks in and other people are around and you're like, "Oh, it's the King." What are people thinking? Yo, that's King, man. The coworker with Joe, he was probably like, "He's calling another guy King." I said it in my rap battle. I ain't calling no other man King except one, and that's Lowski.
Are you King? Amazing. Bonesy, hang in there, man. Hang in there, all right? And we'll come up with a Joe Douglas support group for you, and somehow we'll get through this, and we'll figure it out.
You hang in there, Jake. You got to take the bullets all day. I've been busy at work and dealing with some family shit, so I haven't been able to be as engaged through this terrible time, like calling in every day. But you got to take these live bullets, and we commend you, man. You're our guy that we commiserate with and deal with all this. This has to be the worst feeling as a Jets fan. I can't even get on the train. Everyone, that's the Jets guy. That's the guy always fucking decked out. How's it going, buddy? How's Aaron Rodgers? I want to fight. I want to hit people. I got to keep it together because I have a life. Like, I need Rob from Glenhead to just walk behind me everywhere I go. So when someone says something, I'm good. Yeah! All right, Jake. Another painful day. Love
Mr.
you guys.
Bonesy, hang in there. Are you King? At least Lowski saw a Nick home opener win on Friday. Unreal. A couple quick super chats here. We will get back to the calls. Hamburger wanted Gary to give a shout out to his daughter Gabrielle. Gary? Gary. I'm going to start charging rent for Gary. Just sitting in my green room. If you're in the green room, you got to be ready to make a play, man. We can go to you at any time. Anytime, baby. SEAL Team 75, assemble.
The clapping seals, they're alive and well in the chat.
Sad. 25 says, this loss ruined me. Worst team in the league. I get it, brother. Nice to meet you yesterday. This is Los. He's been supporting me for 14 months as a channel member. Thank you, Los. Every time I think we've hit rock bottom, we find a new low. I mean, I get it, but I do think this is the worst it's ever been. It's the worst in my lifetime, and we had Joe on, who's been watching this team since 1965. He says it's the worst it's been. It can only actually go up from here at some point. Sad. Can't trust Woody to hire the right person. Not even mad. Apathetic. Yeah. I mean, if we just got to laugh. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. All right. We will get to more of your calls, but I'm trying to go to the World Series tonight, and my ticketing czar just gave me a call. So I got to see if I can pull this off. So I'm going to take a quick break, come back, rapid fire through more of your calls. In the meantime, here's what you can do to support the show. Click the like button and subscribe. Be right back with more Jake Asman here on a Monday after the Jet season. If it wasn't already over, it's now dead.
And the pick is in. Here to announce the 13th pick in the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft. Representing the Jake Asman Show, here's Gator McCluskey.
With the 13th pick, it looks like we have a trade with the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to pass out. The Packers send the Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers the 15th pick and a conditional 2025 second-round pick. The Jets send the 13th pick quarterback Zach Wilson along with 6 months of free Netflix along with these Burger King coupons.
And now for a special announcement from Jake Asman.
There's consequences to saying dumb things on this show. FM, you're going to the Shadow Realm, bozo, for life. See you never.
Let's get back to your calls right now. Let's go to Charles, who's up next on the Gustbuster Hotline. What's up, Charles?
Hey, Jake. Look, I was pleasantly surprised. Well, let me phrase that. Just Dwayne Brown is a bit.
The Russian Minister of Defense, Sergei Shoigu, and the General Chief of Staff, Vasily Gerasimov.
I'm sorry.
You have like some weird pain fetish.
I understand that, but
sorry, I am.
Oh my.
Hypocrite's a bit much. And honestly, I don't.
Oh, what sleeping?
No, they don't need that.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
So what's up? You want me to give you those senoritas your phone number?
I'm sorry.
It's killing me. Just sorry, I'm just muttering randomly, but honestly, I don't. Sorry, I am just.
Oh my. Oh my God. How did Gator do that? Just that. Oh my. I mean, what a ridiculous video. I mean, there's no words. There's no words. I thought that was legitimately Charles on the line there. But it just hilarious. I mean, I don't know what to say. All right, back to the calls we go. Assuming this is a real call, let's go to Craig, who's up next on the Gustbuster Hotline tonight. Craig, are you a real person or are you a robot?
Mate, I'm in Australia. Of course I'm real.
What's up, Craig?
Gator, is there anything you can't do? That's my question.
I mean, I was fooled there, man. Like that was unreal. I thought I was going to Charles, and it was just wild what just happened there.
Hey, Robert, thanks for taking my question. With Zach starting again Sunday, does he have any compromising photos of you or someone else in the organization?
No, that's a fair question, Jake. I'm going to take the 5th on that one.
What the hell is this going backwards bullshit? You don't go backwards. You throw the ball out of bounds with your big goddamn arm, and you go back in the fucking huddle.
No, it's a fair question, Neil.
This is bullshit.
Jose Feliciano, the blind Puerto Rican guitarist, can see that he is terrible.
This kid does not want to run with the ball.
Are you kidding me? This is the shit I'm talking about. You bitch his ass. You did his ass on my damn field.
No, it's a fair question, King.
The third damn year we are seeing this in Naptown.
He's not trying to win the goddamn game.
You gotta be kidding me. Send his ass the fuck down.
I could have made 20 yards with that goddamn hole.
If your quarterback cannot play in the NFL, they get rid of him.
Oh, there's one of his 27 seconds throws. Oh, it's amazing. I don't give a shit.
If you cannot play football, get your ass off the field.
And walk around and wipe Rodgers' ass because that's all you're good for.
And you're sitting here defending this bullshit.
If I see Zach Wilson go on that field, me and Lowski are going out personally, and we're going to take his ass off the field.
It is torture, man.
God damn it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Joining us right now is a very special guest. We know him as Paul Boy Green Esden Jr. What's up, man?
Jake Asman, baby. What is up, Jakey?
What's up, man?
Good Lord have mercy.
Oh, God.
Whoa, this Gumby-like body for the friggin' New York
Here we
Jets.
go.
The basketball in there, a little, I'm just going to be like, well, chutzpah, you know what I'm talking about? Not too shabby. He is. Things grow stale. What the hell? And the crowd goes, what? Little shish kebab, a little, hey, how you doing? That horse was galloping in the open prairie. Tasty, tasty. This team's hyped, by the way. Ooh, I feel like I'm on crazy pills. Like, so, Jets are idiots. See, I told you. Shut up, people. But I don't even. It's pelvic thrust, multiple. Take care, everybody. Zoinks. I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Do you guys remember there was an incident in Las Vegas where a man attacked a Clark County judge? After this happened, I said, the guy in the video is actually a listener of the show. So not the guy who basically like Troy Polamalu'd over like the judge dais, but the guy that is a listener of the show is the hero who tried to immediately apprehend this wacko. And yesterday, Michael Lasso, the law clerk who helped protect the Clark County judge who was attacked in court last month, was named Citizen of the Month in Vegas. You could see our guy Michael Lasso on the left there. So pretty cool moment for Michael, who joins us right now. What's up, Michael?
How you doing, Jake? Good to see you.
Man, what's it like being a hero?
Oh my God, you know what I mean? It's so honestly, it's just so surreal and so humbling. Truly, I never expected it to be, on SNL and TikTok and Twitter. And
while I fly this way, right? Mm-hmm. The bailiff, he run behind me, he fall down. Look at him, man. That's terrible, man.
It's really just incredible, to be honest. And that leap that man did was pretty impressive. And I think that's part of the reason why that video has gone so crazy.
I mean, the guy, like, he timed the snap perfectly, right? Like, he did the full Troy Polamalu over the. I mean, what goes through your mind in real time as that's happening? Like, you even have time to think? Was it all just natural reaction? Kind of take us through what's happening there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's no time to think for sure. I mean, the video doesn't even do it justice, just that how fast that actually occurred. I mean, 1 minute he's sitting there just talking about how, he'll accept whatever the judge is willing to give him. And then the next minute he's on top of the judge. So when he initially made a run, I thought, okay, he's going for the door. Last thing I thought he was going for the judge, and I definitely didn't think he was ever going to make contact. It was so nice to the mayor. It was so nice to the city. It was such an incredible experience. I mean, when the mayor first called me, I answered the phone, and I'm thinking to myself, who is this? The mayor? Do you have the right number?
The video honestly doesn't even do it justice as to just how fast it really was. I mean, it went from just any normal day to just, honestly, just straight, havoc. I mean, it was in a blink of an eye, and there really wasn't much time to think. You just kind of react.
I mean, I remember when it happened, and like the video was everywhere, and then you told me that was you, and I was like, what? No way. And I just I couldn't believe it, man.
I know. I wish I could have came on your show earlier, but obviously the sentencing was still going on. There were things in motion, so I just couldn't. But I really appreciate you giving me a chance and coming on here.
It's not every day that, a listener to the show is like a legitimate hero. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, what ended up happening? Was he sentenced? Where's the guy who, attacked you?
Yeah, so basically, yeah, he was given the sentence he was going to get originally. He's got new charges that he's facing, and that's going on in a different courtroom with a different judge, and we'll kind of see where that goes.
Can you believe that when they brought me back to court, they put a muzzle on me, man?
Yeah, probably for everybody's safety.
Man, I ain't bite nobody.
That's unbelievable, man. I love it. A Jet fan is a hero out in Las Vegas.
And those clips of Judge Allen, oh my God, those had me dead. Oh my God, those are the best things I've ever seen. I don't know. I just Gator made those. Those are incredible.
I believe you mean this right here.
I'd rather be the Jake Asman heel than the Robert Saleh truther any day of the week. But it's weird because I don't see myself as a heel. I think I'm a realist.
I don't want to hear none of that shit. You do not root for no damn New England to win shit.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Oh, it's too good. It's too good. Oh my God. Thank you again, Jake.
Michael, you're the man. Appreciate you joining the show, brother. We have the best audience. I've always said it. That's as good as it gets right there.
Here we go, buddy.
It's true, baby. It's true. Thanks to everyone still tuning in. I am trying to go to the World Series. It's in the works. So that's what that call was. Or I'm trying to negotiate right now better than Douglas has negotiated with kickers to this point. Because Greg Zuerlein is still a Jet, last time I checked. If you want to support me, another reminder, join the Patreon, patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Less than a cup of coffee a month. You can allow me to continue to do this show full time for the foreseeable future. Speaking of the World Series, Game 4 watch party tomorrow at Vanderbilt Market, located right next to Grand Central. Join me and the ESPN New York Street team for a Yankee watch party for Game 4. All right, more of your calls right now. Appreciate everyone who is a part of the show. We couldn't do it without you. And joining us up next on the Gusbuster Hotline is...
Warning! Warning! Allen alert! Shit's about to get ugly, folks. Warning! Allen alert! Hide the children!
Good morning, Jacob. First of all, that Judge Allen brings back some really good memories. Love it.
Wow. Another losing season for the Jets last year. Nothing like it.
Watching your face as Bonesy was delivering Joe Douglas soliloquies was priceless. I wanted you to say something, but you're just letting him spew bullshit left and right. But can you please do me a favor?
What do you mean? I said to him, he's 29 and 62. He's gone. He's gone.
Can you do me a favor? When they fire him, can he deliver the eulogy? And he's only allowed to deliver it with tears rolling down his face. That would be priceless. Okay. Couple of comments. I know Joe Benigno mentioned this, and other guys in the chat mentioned this. Oh, if they just didn't fire Saleh at that juncture, things might be different. Okay, here's the problem. They hired Ulbrich, who came from the Robert Saleh tree. Okay, so the stench of Robert Saleh was all over Jeff Ulbrich. So, do I think things would be any different? No, I don't. Okay, this team was headed for a free fall from the Denver game on, and nothing would change. Okay, I honestly believe that. And one final comment: the apple of my eye, Ben Johnson. Just looked up his agent, Richmond Flowers, I think his name is, and I was listening to the guy talking about every executive that would come to the Jets. If I'm Ben Johnson, if I receive a phone call from Woody Johnson, the first thing I do is I hang up. Because there is no way in the world I would take this job. It makes no sense with no quarterback in sight for him to take this job. Okay, it's just a bad move for him to take this job. And I love Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson has a chance to be really good in his next opportunity. I just don't think it's here. I don't think it works.
He's a good OC. How do we know he has good leadership qualities to be a good head coach? It's a different job. Like, that's always my concern. That's always the risk when you hire the coordinator who's never been a head coach before. You don't know. Like, there's been plenty of good coordinators who are not good head coaches on both sides of the ball. Forget just Saleh or Todd Bowles being good DCs. Like Josh McDaniels. You go down the list of Norv Turner. There's so many examples of this. The offensive guy that ended up not being a good head coach.
I agree that Ben Johnson is the flavor of the month. I totally agree with you. But what he's done with Jared Goff is remarkable, honestly. Jared Goff, when he left the Rams, was a middle of the road quarterback trending downwards. And right now, you could say that he could be a top 5 quarterback in the league. So you take an opportunity right now and you take a chance on him. If I was Ben Johnson, if the Bills fail in the playoffs, that's the job I would take.
We say this every year, though. They never fire McDermott. They're going to win the division again this year.
I think they would fire him if they don't. If they fail in the playoffs again, I think they will fire him. Yes. They need to get into a Super Bowl with this team, honestly. I don't think they will, but if they lose, let's say, second round of the playoffs, I think they will fire him. I mean,
look, I like Ben Johnson too, but I think like you acted like Jared Goff was a bum. Like Sean McVay's a really good coach too. He went to a Super Bowl with Jared Goff.
Jared Goff, at the end of his tenure at the Rams, was a bum. He was. Honestly, he was a bum. They couldn't wait to get rid of him. I know they got Matt Stafford and they had to trade 2 first-round picks just to get Jared Goff off the books. He was a bum. And Ben Johnson absolutely resurrected his career.
But look at their personnel. They have the best O-line in the league. They have a great running game. They have a stud receiver. They have a really good tight end. Like it's a great roster that was assembled too.
Yeah, but you can't. Again, he came from an organization where they couldn't wait to get rid of him. You see the way he plays right now, the type of confidence he's playing with. I mean, you can't teach that. That's all Ben. I mean, that's all Ben Johnson. That's all Ben Johnson.
I'd rather hire someone with experience than Ben Johnson, personally.
Okay,
I'm not saying I'd be against Ben Johnson. If they're going to hire the guy who's never been a coach before, it better be an offensive guy. So I would agree with you. I would take Ben Johnson.
So one final thing. Let me give you a guy that I think would be realistic. Would Jim Caldwell excite you? Honestly,
but
unfortunately,
what's his name? The Ravens offensive coordinator, who was a Jet candidate a couple years
he's
ago.
never taken this job. No chance.
Why would Todd Monken not consider this job? Where are all the other opportunities he's going to have?
He is not taking it again.
I don't think anyone's going to take this job.
No, I don't think Todd Monken's taking the job.
But why would anyone take the job when Robert Saleh was hired and he was the top candidate? Like ultimately, like it's 1 of 32. If you pay enough money, you'll be able to get a quality candidate. And that's not my concern.
Todd Monken has a better chance of coaching Trevor Lawrence next year than he does coaching this team. Honestly, he does. Todd Monken got bypassed for Adam Gase. You don't think that stings? Honestly,
it's still Alan. It's 1 of 32, man. Like, you know how much money you get to be an NFL head coach compared to what you are as a coordinator? It's generational wealth.
Again, Jim Caldwell will be a guy that the Jets will look at. And I agree with you. I think they will interview Rex Ryan. Do I think they'll hire him? No. But I think he will be an interviewee, as will Jim Caldwell, and maybe Mike Vrabel will be interviewed. I don't think a Monken, I don't think a Johnson, and I don't think the Texans OC will get the Jet. The Jet.
You don't want Bobby Slowick, by the way. All right, ask a Texan fan about Slowick this year. That's what's funny. I actually, in a crazy way, actually picture the Jets winning Thursday, as bad as it is, because now no one expects them to win, right? Like now it's just like no one's talking about it. Season's over. We're doing the postmortem today. This is the game they win. I'm for those saying they're not going to win another game this year, you're not paying attention to Jets football. This is when they're at their best. This is when they are going to start winning some games, and they'll finish with 6 or 7 wins. I've seen this too many times, man. Texans have no Nico Collins, no Stephon Diggs. It's a short week. They're banged up. Jets are home. There's no expectations. But who cares about that game? Let me get back to Alan's comments here. Let me say it again. I'm not telling you the Jets are going to be able to get whoever they want for GM or coach. But the idea that they won't be able to actually hire a qualified candidate is BS. 2020, they were an expansion-level franchise, and they were able to hire Robert Saleh. When they hired Joe Douglas, that was thought to be a genius hire. Like, they've gotten the top guys before. Money talks. That's the biggest thing for sure. But you know what also matters? 1 of 32, man. These jobs are hard. Like Robert Saleh got $35 million guaranteed no matter what happens. That's generational wealth for him and his family. You know, if you're a top coordinator, you might be making like $1 million or $2 million a year. There's a major difference. Nate says, one thing we were all correct about. We all said this season will be memorable for us. Safe to say we'll never forget 2024. We have Aaron Rodgers. We do. We have pain. We have heartbreak. And we have misery as well. Iconical wear, a.k.a. Dirty in the house. Speaking of Lasso, I think I took my first loss in the Jake Asman Fantasy Football by a half a point. Great job, Lasso. It's an honor to play. Your team is nasty, Dirty. It bothers me. Congrats to you. Bo writes in, only Allen would advocate for a division rival to receive a coach we absolutely need. I mean, Allen's loving this, man. This is his favorite time of year. Jet season's over. We get to throw out hypothetical coaching and GM candidates. I mean, Allen's got to see a doctor, man. I mean, he has had something in his pants that's lasted way more than 4 hours since that game ended yesterday. Jetted outrights in the history of football, when holding teams under 250 yards and scoring over 20 points, the teams are 750-1. Guess who's the one loss? Yep, the Jets. Guess who gave that stat during the interview with Joe Benigno already? Yep, the Jake Asman show. Only the Jets, man. Hit the like button if you're still watching. God bless you and your family. Oh, man. Honestly, we've done well with the Super Chats today. That's going to the World Series fund, so I appreciate everyone. Let's say hello to Jay Graves. We'll do Jay Graves, Philly Noodles, Vinny, and maybe one surprise that will wrap up the show. We'll be back, I think, with Will Pod at some point, but I'm trying to finalize the time. Hello, Jay Graves.
Hey, Jake. How are ya?
Living the dream, Jay Graves. Living the dream.
Yeah, same. I will now say I'm very glad I made the decision to go to the last Thursday night game, the last time we won, because I feel like that's the last I'm ever going to see a good Aaron Rodgers game.
Yeah, I mean, say whatever you want about how this year has gone, but,
we fucked that night, man. That was a good night.
The best game Rodgers played as a Jet. I was in the building and at least got to see. The bar is so low, but at least I have that as a Jet fan that I was there and I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to meet some of the Asmaniacs I haven't met yet in real life on Thursday and going to the Gotham City tailgate. That sounds like it's going to be a good time, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, win or lose, Gotham City does a great job.
I've seen their stuff, so I'm excited about that. But I was going to go back to, remember in the summer, I wasn't excited yet. Now, if you remember, I made a comment about Randall Cobb didn't bust with the boys, and he had made a little bit of an off-comment thing about the way that Dallas was run and the way that Green Bay was run, they do it right. And how he went to the Texans before when they were dumpster fire and said, like, it just wasn't right. And he kind of likened the Texans to the Jets. And I've been saying for a decade that until Johnson sells this damn team, like, we ain't going to have shit. And I was really, really, really hoping I was wrong. But turns out we're all fucking right. Yeah. And it's just gone to shit, and I don't even know if I could be any more disappointed, and I don't even know. That's all I got today, man.
Yeah, Jay Graves, tough to see you like this, but I get it. Look, as bad as it is right now, and it's bad, I'm not going to tell you otherwise, this is the lowest it has ever been. There have been some horrific franchises in sports that have been able to turn it around with bad ownership. I'm not telling you they're turning this around because I don't have a whole lot of faith right now either, but it can be done. Like, it has happened. You just got to pray they finally get these hires right. Because if you really think about it, the Texans had a preacher running their team. The Lions were the Lions. Now they're the gold standard. Now we're talking about poaching people from the Lions to fix the Jets. Think about that. Like, it can change. It's crazy, but it can change. Tough. Philly Noodles is next. What's up, Phil?
Hey, what's going on, Jake? So, I mean, a lot of perspective, right? I don't care what anybody says. It's 5-3 if Zerline hits his kicks, no matter which way we put it. So what we're looking at is what happens if the kicks don't go through, and it's disgusting. So, I mean, they should have fired him already. Should have got rid of him. They didn't. It's 2 years on the books, $8 million. I mean, so you're justifying $8 million for 3 wins. It's not a good look on JD. But I mean, beside that, yesterday I had the craziest thing ever happen for me at the bar. I'm at the bar, And I looked behind me and I couldn't tell. I looked at somebody sitting next to me and I said, "You look familiar." And then I asked the guys after the dude got up, I said, "Hey, doesn't this guy look like this person?" And they're like, "Yeah, I was sitting in front of Garrett Wilson's dad."
Oh, God.
Now, yeah. So we're watching the game and he gave me some insights. I mean, stuff I probably wouldn't want to say because then, it can go the wrong way from here. I mean, you're a media outlet. It is what it is. But yeah, he's
Doesn't
like,
matter. We don't need to protect the Jets from them being a shit show.
yeah, he alluded to, you get into the pocket. I mean, you get into the huddle. He's just doing what he wants.
There it is.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's throwing shit
you can
back.
see it. You can see
It's
it,
bad.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. And he said, practice and everything is just odd. It's very odd. He said it's very fucking odd. He goes, he just, does as he goes. And you can see it resonating through the offense where everybody's a little off. He hits a play. Garrett makes an amazing catch, 2 back-to-back catches, almost it was in yesterday's game. And he's got the look of like that was supposed to happen, or oh, now you got it. It's like he's not, something's off. And I mean, thing is, what do? Do you bring in a head coach that wants to work with him if you're going to bring Aaron back? And if you blow it up, how do you not give the next coach at least a 5-year to 10-year window to eradicate the smell out the building and bring everything you need to correlate to the team? Because that's the thing. When you give
getting 10 years. I mean, but Billy, here's the thing. The one narrative that's actually not true about the Jets is that they're not patient with their football people. Woody Johnson is giving Joe Douglas 6 years. He's fulfilling his contract. Salah got 3 years of a losing season before year 4 even started. Like, you get time here. But my whole point is, if you build it right, it doesn't take forever. Like, I bring up the 2022 draft because that's Joe Douglas's crowning achievement. The 5 teams that picked in the top 5, 4 of them have all made the playoffs and won a playoff game. And the Jets haven't. They're the only team that hasn't even been there.
It's disheartening. I mean, and it's crazy when you hear coming from the parent of the player. Like, that never happens, right? He was just like, if they drop this game, it's over. He's like, and the sentiment is, if he's saying that, that means it's probably the locker room saying that we're done.
Well,
the feeling,
they like, it's human nature, right? Like, obviously they know it's bleak. I mean, all they could do though is like, hey, we're playing in 3 days, get ready for this game. And like, they're not mathematically eliminated yet. That's what the coaches are going to say.
Yeah, exactly.
We're fans, so like, we know it's over. But like, the players don't think that way necessarily. They're going to be out there risking their lives on Thursday because that's the nature of the sport.
I mean, I left him with sentiment. I said, bro, your son is something outstanding. I said, God bless him. God bless his mental awareness. Because you're about to go through a dark room where you're going to hear trade swirls. Do they get rid of him? Are they going to pay who? Are they going to pay when the contracts are up? I mean, it's like we have AVT. That was a 5th-year option. We still got to bring AVT. Like, just the amount of people we have to bring back from that group that's solid on the team is like shit. Like, it's a lot of like, how do you maneuver? And if you bring in a new GM, he may just blow it up. He might just be like, well, I want to keep Reese and Garrett. I mean, Sauce is not deserving of $30 million. That was a disgrace yesterday in the 4th quarter.
I mean,
I'm not giving that guy. Yeah, I'm not.
But that's the thing, Phil. Like you look at this team right now. Like, some of these decisions, like blow it up. They like, you don't have to blow everything up. These guys are under contract. Like, why am I rushing to trade Sauce or extend Sauce? He's on a 5-year deal. He'd be going into year 4 next year. Oh, but Jake, what if he holds out? Hold out. Okay. No one's paying you. He hasn't earned his contract. I'm not getting rid of Garrett, though. Like, I will keep saying this. That guy is a high give a shit rating, and that matters to me. This guy cares. All right, he obviously screwed up in Pittsburgh with the brutal drop that led to the Rodgers pick. But you know what? Garrett Wilson cares. He wants to win. And he has played well this year. There's been moments where you're disappointed, but man, he's so far down on the list of problems. And this guy's been quarterback proof too. His first 2 years, he had 8 different guys who all were various ranges of bad to terrible throwing to him. So I'm not blowing it up. I'm making changes. The biggest thing they need to do is, like, look at the Chargers. They had a quarterback and really not much else, poorly coached, and they're in the mix now because of what they did. Starts with GM and coach. Get that right and go from there. 2 more calls, then we wrap. Daniel's next. Hey, Daniel.
Hey, what's up, Jake? I will ask you how you doing, but I've been listening to you
There are
the
the
2
chickens.
hours. Yeah. Actually, one chicken gone crazy and he has his head twisted upside down because he's a Jets fan, and I'm losing my shit here, Jake. All the commentators, if that's the word, here in Mexico were laughing about the Jets because we were losing to probably the worst team that the New England Patriots had in a long time. And it hurts. I mean, we're really the laughing stock. But I've been thinking about something, Jake. This issue with the accountability. I mean, all the team has, at least I know, they're older. They have like over 21 years, unless brilliant. So this is not a fucking high school. So I will be a dumbass and I will do shit to hurt the team. And I will not care about what happens. And I need the coach to hold me accountable. I mean, if we're losing, I want the players to gather and talk about the issues and how can really do something, because what Davante did, it's like, come on, let's give him the Pulitzer already. Like, I know one pep talk before or after the game, it won't do shit, but at this point we really need to do something. I need to see something of more leadership, because Aaron Rodgers is the one who's gathered all his friends into the team. I mean, what's going on with Hackett? He's a piece of shit too. And I'm sorry, but I'm so mad and going crazy because I don't know what it will be the next year without GM and without a head coach. And we have all these good players, at least at paper, but they're doing nothing. I mean, but anyways, so one question for you, Jake. What would you do the next season on hiring the next GM? Because at least to me, it is more important to bring a good GM so he can hire a good fit head coach and try to implement a culture that really makes a difference. Because right now we are like a head without his head, just running around, and really we're
Like
not
one of your
going
chickens
anywhere.
running around, Daniel. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, man. Come on, Jake. I mean, I really want this team to really fucking win, and I'm sorry for all the younger Jets fans. As always, as all the people were saying, they're too young and they just haven't seen this team on losing seasons. I mean, at least I just watched 2 good years with Rex Ryan, and also I am not in the boat of Rex Ryan because I think it's the nostalgia talking for us. We really need to be smart in that, because Rex has a lot of time out of the league, and even though he is in a program and talking about the Jets, I really we really need some people who is professional and can get this thing working well. And well, for list, and I will end here. Is there any type of thing that we, the fans, can buy the team and try to divide the shares? Because if the issue is also Woody, I mean, we are doomed until he die. I don't think he will. I don't think he will sell the team, and
And
it's hard. I mean,
Daniel, it's a privately owned company too. Like, there's no shares. Like, Woody owns the team. Sucks. All right, one last call. Jet Clown Dave is on the line. Hey, Jet Clown Dave.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, Asmaniacs. It's that time of the year again. Jet Clown Dave is back. It's that time of the season Yeah. Let's go. Hey, Jake, you know when's the last time we won a game? When I saw you at the brewery, buddy, in New Jersey. Well, my alter ego, at least. Now, I got a fun fact for you guys. Do you know that there's 4 teams in our division? And do you know how many AFC East titles the Jets? What place we're in? We're in 5th place. Yeah, we're in 5th place. And guess what else? I've never seen a team use 3 timeouts, 3 timeouts in one fucking quarter. It's that time of the season. I'm so sorry, you Jets fans and Asmaniacs and all the content creators. But hey, let's keep this start this show going, baby. Woo! J-E-T-S, Jets, 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 yeah!
Thank you, Jet Cloud Dave. Bravo. That was good. I needed that. I think we all needed that. Thank you, Dave. Call back anytime. Jet Cloud Dave. God. How did they get this bad, man? That's what I keep coming back to. Even if they didn't live up to the expectations some of us had, right? 12-5, win the division. I thought that was possible this year. How are they 2-6? How is the season over in October? Like, even, dude, they were just 4-4 right now. It's like, it's not where you want to be, but it's like, yeah, 3-5, they're not dead. They're not dead at 3-5. Ugh. I don't know. Thank you all for watching. Thanks to Benigno for coming on. Once again, thanks to everyone I met at T-Squared yesterday. You guys are great. Super chat at the buzzer. Tiara, I love the Jets. Always will. Get Rex. This is a horrible joke season. Yeah. Okay, if Rex wants to coach the last 9 games, I'd let him. Why not? He'll show some pride.
You know, thinking is overrated.
So is winning, by the way. Man, I'm down bad. I think we'll have a show in the afternoon to be determined on the time, either 3 or 4. So check the Discord for updates if you're a Patreon member. Thanks to everyone for watching. Go Jets. We'll talk to you guys later today. Ugh. Wow. Oh, the pain. Damn.
You talk to Alan, but you can't talk to me. Oh, thank you. Stop that freaking noise. Stop. Stop farting. Stop with that.
Disgusting franchise that masquerades themselves as an NFL football team. I hate this team. I hate them. I hate them.